Storm Team 8 is tracking a severe weather alert.
All right, we've been talking about all of these showers and storms which are popping, and we're really concerned about this one that's forming in Dowagiac. Not only could it produce hail of about 2 inches in size, we're also seeing a pretty defined hook echo, which is indicative of some pretty strong circulation and potentially a tornado on the ground. So we want to focus in on what's going on here for you. This is the Dowagiac area, especially if you live in Dowagiac, you need to take cover now. You need to get into your safe spot. Right now, you can see that we have some bright reflectivities in Eau Claire, wrapping back towards Indian Lake. This is the portion of the storm that we're most concerned about. And the portion of the storm that we're most concerned about is headed directly towards Dowagiac at this point in time. So that being said, this is something that we want you to take very seriously. We've been monitoring these cells very carefully, scan by scan. And this one that's moving, again, from Indian Lake, just north of Four Winds Casino, has some pretty strong reflectivities coming in and a pretty defined couplet. So I'm going to show you the reflectivity now. Blake Harms and Scott Larson both here with me, and you can see, wow, that is intense circulation, unfortunately. So this is between Eau Claire and Indian Lake, and right about here is where we would anticipate a tornado to be on the ground. And with rotation like this, it would not be surprising if we had a tornado on the ground. So again, this is just near the Sister Lakes and Dowagiac area, north of Pokagon, right near the Four Winds Casino. If we look at how strong some of the winds are being registered by the Northern Indiana radar, the winds are incredibly robust, upwards of 90 miles per hour, and this is sampling around the Four Winds Casino. In some cases, some of the wind speeds being sampled at that height are coming in near 100 miles per hour. So what that tells us is we have a lot of speed, and it's coming together on the ground, potentially south of Indian Lake, on the east side of Eau Claire. Looking at who's most likely impacted right now, this is Franklin Road, stretching over towards Frost Street. Looks like we just got a new scan.
New tornado warning issued for eastern Van Buren County. This storm is moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. Possible tornado and golf ball size hail. So that should be showing up here momentarily. But a new tornado warning just issued for parts of Van Buren County, and that is going to run until 5:45. So that just came across the wire.
All right, we'll likely start to see that updated as it adds Van Buren County. Here it is on the scan. Tornado warning. So we are anticipating some in our community to have intense winds, likely of tornado or higher on the ground. And this is Keeler here up towards Lawrence, included in the warning, Decatur, Pawpaw, Almena. If you live in one of these communities, you need to take cover now. Again, looking at who's most likely going to be impacted, it's two separate cells here, but both with a tornado warning. Switching back to live radar, you can see kind of the classic view, a huge cluster. And in addition, with the fact that we're looking for tornado warnings or intense wind on the ground, these storms have had a big history of producing some pretty strong and large hail. So this has not yet entered Kalamazoo County, but it's moving incredibly fast, zipping in at about 50 miles per hour in some cases, lifting from Sister Lakes up to Keeler and Lawrence. This is also tracking towards Marcellus, Lawton, Pawpaw, Matawan. If you are in one of these communities that we just listed, please get into your safe spot. We are watching for the potential of a tornado to be touching down on the ground. Blake, what are you seeing there as I continue to get settled? I mean, this is an incredibly strong couplet that we're seeing.
Yeah, Ellen, if we can take graphics too, I'll kind of give you a glimpse at what I'm looking at here. What we're keeping a pretty close eye on right now is that this has a classic hook shape. What we're looking at is this area just to the west of Dowagiac, and this is tracking off to the northeast. That's what's prompted that new tornado warning. And if you can go ahead and take graphics full for me for a moment, I'll give you a closer look. This structure is quite well defined, and that is what makes us believe that the tornado potential here may be significant. Not only that, but the hail potential as well. If we turn on Hail Tracker, if there is to be hail, it's likely just to the west of Decatur, moving to the north as well. But this thunderstorm has a lot of lightning with it, over 100 strikes just within this storm alone. And it's a structure that is tracking to the east. So let's put a fresh track on this for you. I'm going to step this back just a few frames. And it looks like it's tracking east-northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So Twin Lakes, this is going to be on your doorstep here. Within the next 2 to 3 minutes or so, you should be in your tornado safe spot. Decatur coming up just before 5:30. Lawton, if it continues on its current trajectory, may be close to your area shortly before 5:35. And this will eventually track into Kalamazoo County. We'll have to watch to see how the strength holds with this. But Ellen, like you were just saying, the fact that we have this, we call almost a ball right in here on the southern side of this supercell, just to the north of Dowagiac, that's what has me the most concerned at this moment.
Absolutely. So we have two spots here that we're watching carefully. Again, Twin Lakes, you have some incredibly strong wind speeds being sampled just above you. And at any point in time, this could mix down to the ground. So if we're seeing some wind speeds of about 100 miles per hour, that is strong enough to knock over trees and to really create some strong damage. We're going to have reporters and our anchors looking to see if we can see some power outages in some of these regions from Sister Lakes over towards Decatur to see if any of this actually is making it down to the ground. But what we're experiencing right now, right over Twin Lakes, a tiny town, is intense wind speeds. Glenwood Road, Fosdick Street, Morton Street, Ball Road, all these locations at any time could experience that fast uptick of wind. And we're getting towards the evening commute time frame. So if you have a loved one that lives in this region, you want to go ahead and encourage them to maybe hang back at work, not hit the road quite so soon, stay close to a shelter. A few other towns that are likely impacted: Glenwood, and then if we move up into the Van Buren County area, Lawrence, Keeler, Papaw, Lawton, Matawan, all within the range of needing to head to your safe spot. I'm going to put this in motion so you can see how quickly some of these showers and storms are rolling. And this takes us back to about an hour ago. So an hour ago, 2 hours ago, excuse me, we just had these showers and storms moving in from the Chicagoland region while they were in Chicago and northern Indiana, producing tennis ball size hail, and they are moving into a fresh environment. If we were to see hail, it would be just north of where the tornadic circulation might be. So right about here, south of Keeler, rolling towards Decatur would be the most likely hail potential. And then in terms of where a tornado might be or touching down on the ground, it would be north of Dowagiac. So sometimes it's helpful to see the storm in motion so you can see how quickly it's moving.
Ellen,
yes,
I really do not like the look of the amount of rotation that is almost directly over Twin Lakes. If you were to switch over to the northern Indiana radar, if you're able, even if not, it's showing up on Grand Rapids as well. There is a tremendous amount of, if not tight rotation, very broad rotation within this storm. And that is what has me concerned about the Twin Lakes area right now, almost heading directly overhead. And then this will eventually from there begin to track northward up toward Decatur. And so the magnitude of the winds within this storm, if we were to sample some of these, I mean, that's close to 80 miles per hour.
The outages might be.
And it looks like it's continuing to strengthen here over the last several minutes. So as Ellen has been mentioning, this storm has been strengthening. And even if it doesn't have a tornado on the ground, which it looks like it could produce at any moment, the winds with this look to be substantial enough to cause damage that would be similar to a weak tornado. So this is a storm to be taken seriously regardless. And again, what we're watching is this area right in here where the greens and reds are coming together. This is just to the south of Twin Lakes. And again, before long, this will be moving generally in the Decatur area. And it looks like we have a new scan here, which continues to show more of the same. Some rotation that continues, some strong rotation right over the Twin Lakes area.
Yeah, let's track this into some bigger areas first, and then we'll take it down to street level. So arrival time looking like Decatur right around 5:30, Lawton 5:39, Papaw 5:39, Glendale 5:43, Matawan 5:44, and then near Gobles and Pine Grove closer to about 5:50. These storms could speed up too. So these are always just helpful things to keep in mind when you're talking about arrival times. It's last case scenario. You always want to get to your safe spot well ahead of that time.
Hey, Ellen, if you want to switch over to correlation coefficient, it looks like we may be getting signs that this thing is on the ground, at least according to the National Weather Service in northern Indiana. They say starting to see some signs of that indicating a tornado is likely in progress.
It looks pretty broad. It might be contaminated by some of the hail. I don't know if potentially you're seeing anything a little bit more clearly than this view. Sampling it here, still seeing...
On northern Indiana radar, almost right over Twin Lakes, there's a signature. I don't know if you can see it on the screen all right here. That lines up pretty well with the rotation that we're seeing, and that would indicate that there might be a tornado in progress right over Twin Lakes. What we look for with this debris tracker are the brighter colors, so the yellow, some of the greens, the blues. That would indicate that there may be debris being picked up by this tornado, and we're seeing it from, yeah, that's a little more defined.
Yeah. Blake, I'm going to have you stay on the northern Indiana radar. I'm going to stay on the Grand Rapids one. Since this is kind of on the threshold zone, but that absolutely looks like a bullseye.
I think so.
Right over Twin Lakes. And if we look at our velocity data that's coming in from the Grand Rapids radar, which is sampling the storm further up, you can see the red and the green together. And that's actually, Blake, we just got a confirmed tornado warning.
Yep.
This purple tornado warning box means that we're seeing debris lofted, as Blake just mentioned, as the National Weather Service in northern Indiana mentioned.
This is a radar confirmed, so that means that they're looking at that, that debris that's likely being picked up, and it looks like it's been trimmed now to include areas northeast of Dowagiac. So Twin Lakes, Marcellus, included in this new confirmed tornado warning. This tornado is located right over Twin Lakes, and as you can see, it's tracking northeast. So just for some reference, this is the area that we're seeing debris being picked up by this tornado. And over the last few scans, it's moving almost due northeast. And so let's put a track on this. Generally speaking, this will be more likely than not passing just to the south of Decatur. But this is a very serious storm with a confirmed tornado. And if you are in southern Van Buren County, if you're in Decatur, Lawton, anywhere between Lawton and Marcellus, you need to be heading to your tornado safe spot here within the next few minutes, because it looks very evident that there is a tornado on the ground. And it still continues until 5:45, so another 22 minutes. But what the Weather Service pointed out, what we just talked about, is that you've been watching the debris ball with this storm being picked up. Likely some trees, perhaps some structures. We have yet to hear of any damage reports. Implore the news department downstairs to keep a close tab on Cass County, see if we have any reports of damage. There's very likely damage being done by this tornado as it continues to track northeastward.
And once again, you can see that we have those two separate warning boxes. The one in red is a tornado warning for the detection of rotation. And as Blake just wonderfully put, the fact that we're seeing the debris lofted and the radar is picking that up has prompted the purple warning, which means that there's likely a tornado on the ground. So it's the only way that you can get debris lofted. So again, focusing in on Twin Lakes, this is Morton Street, headed up towards Dewey Lake. Fast-moving storm, potentially producing a tornado on the ground, and very likely already touching down once because of the debris.
The tornado warning was just updated for Van Buren County that says it is confirmed near Decatur, or 7 miles northeast of Dowagiac, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So they have radar confirmed this tornado as well.
We're seeing that as well. You know what? If you are still seeing a good correlation coefficient with the northern Indiana radar, I might have you put a track on where the debris ball might be located. That's one of the best ways we can see where the damage is and where it's headed. But absolutely, we are seeing two confirmed tornado warnings issued from Twin Lakes up into Decatur, Paw Paw, Elmina. And the velocity is still indicating that we have some wind speeds aloft of at least let's see, 73, 76 miles per hour.
I've got a fresh track on this from northern Indiana.
Good. Can we take Blake, please?
Here is the debris ball, this area in yellow and green that you see just to the north of Twin Lakes, tracking northeast at 40 miles per hour. So this will be moving on the south side of Decatur, eventually over toward the Lawton area, and just before 5:45. And then if it continues on its current track, this is going to be near Matawan shortly before 5:50. So this is a track here over the next 20 to 25 minutes or so, but Decatur, especially the south side of Decatur, and if we can try to get some street level tracking for you, County Road 669, 46th Street, M51 through the city of Decatur, you should be in your tornado safe spot. Old Swamp Road, County Road 352, those are all areas that need to be in their tornado safe spot as we have a tornado in progress between Twin Lakes and Glenwood, this area right in here. Again, that's tracking to the northeast at 40 miles per hour.
Hail is also something that we're watching for in addition to the tornado on the ground. Just putting it out there, we have seen the strong hail reflectivities as just a lot of moisture is being lofted into the sky. So in addition to the fact that we're seeing the debris there, just want to let you know that these storms can produce some large damaging hail. I know that's a huge factor to a lot of farmers. And when it comes to hail, it usually impacts way more people, way more communities than just what we're seeing with the one small area for the tornado warning. So here's evidence of where the hail may have been. In general, it's going to be tracking just on the northwest side of where the defined radar hook might be. So if we have the tornado warning and the debris signature on the ground, just think north of that. That's where we're expecting to see a swath of some heavier hail. This is hail swath, so it's showing you who's most likely to have seen hail over the last hour or so. And it really looks like it's cutting on the north side of Decatur with, again, the potential of some pretty strong reflectivities and potentially debris in the Decatur range. Blake, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to quick mention that the debris ball is picked up on this. We're getting higher reflectivities, which means that there is likely more debris being picked up by this tornado that is continuing to move toward Decatur. So once again, this area right in here is where the tornado is in progress and picking up debris. And this is tracking northeast at 40 miles per hour. So if we put another track on this for you, once again, south side of Decatur, here within the next few minutes, eventually toward Lawton just before 5:45. Before I toss it back to Ellen, though, I want to bring your attention to another potentially developing storm near Constantine. This one is not warned yet, but I believe it may be soon. This is far southern St. Joseph County. And what we've been watching with this one, meteorologist Scott Larson first pointed this out, is we have some strong winds with this one, and perhaps a couple developing with winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour with that storm in southern St. Joseph County. So we're going to keep close tabs on that one. For now, the only confirmation of a tornado that we have is just to the south of Decatur, now about to cross the county line into Van Buren.
Yeah, folks that are impacted by this tornado-warned storm, Glenwood. If we're looking at where the center of rotation is, it's roughly Glenwood headed towards Ball Road and Bond Road. So we've zoomed way in. Here's Twin Lakes for perspective. Here's the county line into Van Buren County to the north. And this is moving quite quickly. So Bond Road, 46th Street. Folks that live in that area need to also get into their safe spot. This is tracking, again, fresh scan here, just to the northeast. And every scan, it's holding on to this rotation. Soon we'll likely see the first tornado warning for Cass County dropped, and we'll likely just see a continuation of this tornado warning into Van Buren County. Kalamazoo County, you are not under any warnings at this point. However, if this storm continues and it holds on to its rotation, you very well could be next in seeing at least a severe thunderstorm warning, if not a tornado warning. I'm going to try to switch to correlation coefficient on this current view. It's very messy, which indicates that we could be seeing some hail. In addition to the fact that we have the debris ball, I definitely think that the view that you've had, Blake, really has shown the defined debris ball. Typically, when a tornado cycles or falls apart, we'll see the debris ball get wider and disperse and fall apart before reforming if the tornado reforms. So that's some of the things that, or those are some of the things that we're watching for with some of these signatures. But Decatur, Glenwood, even Frittsburg, you want to make sure to be alert and in your safe zone. Lawton, this is a fast-moving storm, and it's also headed towards you.
Yeah, of watching the last scan or two of that debris that we're continuing to track being picked up by this tornado, it almost seems to be curving a little more to the east. So if we watch near Twin Lakes, that area of light green and yellow that you see, it's moving northeast, 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 and now in the latest scan, it took a bit of a jog eastward. And so that indicates it may be moving a little more east than it is north at this point, which is typical. When we see supercells of this strength, it's very much not uncommon for us to see these storms curve eastward. And so we may see that trend here continue. If you're in Decatur, Lawton, you still need to be heading to your tornado safe spot as we have a continued radar-confirmed tornado. However, Ellen, one thing I was just noticing is that it looks like it might be starting to jog eastward, which is what we sometimes expect with supercells.
And this is one of the reasons why these tornado warnings are drawn the way that they are with the polygon. They allow for wiggle room with the storm because the storm is going to go where it has energy, where it has fuel. So with that being said, I think you are absolutely correct, Blake. This center of circulation that we're watching that's over Decatur and just on the south side of Decatur, we might start favoring looking at some of these locations in these communities that are south of Lawton. and really focusing in on the fact that it might not even be raining very hard where you're living right now. But quickly, we could see a rapid intensification of this storm and a rapid intensification of the winds on the ground. If you're just joining us, just want to do a quick reset. We are seeing showers and storms erupting over West Michigan. We are expecting this to happen today. We have a tornado watch until 9 p.m. for most of West Michigan, especially south of the Muskegon, Grand Rapids, Greenville region. And right now we have a purple warning. If you've never seen one before, what this means is it's a tornado warning where debris has been detected inside the clouds. So instead of just being circulation detected, there is a confirmation that some suction has wafted debris into the sky. And right now, Decatur, over towards Lawton, and the communities and streets just on the east side of Decatur absolutely need to take cover. Don't just go inside. Please get away from windows. Go to the lowest level of your house. Do not stay in a car. County Road 352, you could be directly impacted from this. 36th Street, just south of County Road 352 in Van Buren County. Moving towards 31st Street. Again, Blake, I think sometimes it's counterintuitive because for some of these folks, it's not even raining yet.
Yeah, they come up on you fast, and supercells is not necessarily something that we're used to seeing here in West Michigan. We do get that from time to time, just not as often as some of our folks in the southern parts of the country. So this is, again, remains a confirmed tornado, as Ellen mentioned. Looking at an area of debris that's being picked up by this tornado just south of Decatur, this is what the signature is now. It looks a little less defined than it was, which is good news. However, if we continue to look at the rotation with this storm, and you can see the center of rotation.
Blake, it looks like we do have a new tornado warning from that storm you and Scott were watching just north of Constantine.
Yeah, for hail up to golf ball size, remains a radar confirmed tornado.
Goes until 6:30 tonight.
Oh, they just extended it. Okay. Yeah. It was set to expire at 5:45, but it looks like this thing has slowed down pretty tremendously, now moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. And so that is why the warning would have been extended. So let's put a track on this using northern Indiana's radar. You can see the core of the rotation is right here, just south of Decatur. And if we step back over the last several minutes, it's almost moving more due east than northeast now. Tracking right along the Van Buren and Cass County line, 96th Avenue, Lawrence Road, 36th Street, 92nd Avenue, 31st Street, 96th Avenue, over toward Red Run Road. That is likely where this area of rotation is heading now, as it heads more due east than north. And we continue to see debris signature from this tornado, which means that either whether it be tree or parts of trees or structures still being wafted up in the air by this tornado as it continues to track now about 25 miles per hour, Ellen.
We've been talking about the hail potential in addition with the rotation that Blake was just mentioning. If you're concerned about hail, this is a view that helps us to focus in on where the hail is likely and where it's the most intense. On the north side of Decatur, a very good chance that we're seeing some strong hail on Stapleton Road on the north side of Decatur up through 74th Avenue, 39th Street.
Hey, Ellen, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We have a new tornado warning for St. Joseph County that was just issued within the last, looks like minute or two. We were just talking about that storm a minute or two ago, and now this has a very similar structure to the storm that is currently moving through Van Buren County. So this one not confirmed at this time. Tornado warning south of Three Rivers, north of White Pigeon. This does technically include Sturgis, but we're more focused on Centerville, Nottawa, and eventually Colon, as this storm, if we can get some details on this, looks to be tracking off to the northeast as well. This is severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Constantine, near Three Rivers, moving east at 25 miles per hour. This is capable of also producing ping pong ball sized hail. So east at 25 miles per hour. And let's see if we can identify the core area of rotation. It looks like it's just to the southwest of Centerville. So if you're in Centerville, if you're in Nottawa, you need to be in your tornado safe spot, as we have strengthening rotation with this storm now as well. So we have now two potentially tornadic situations that are ongoing across southern Michigan. We have the confirmed tornado that is now moving into Van Buren County. We have a new tornado warning that will be impacting Centerville and Nottawa within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So if you are on East Main Street, Constantine Road, it's right over you on Hoschel Road, Finley Road, Schimmel Road, Bucknell Road, and then over toward downtown Nottawa, you need to be in your tornado safe spot as we have a new tornado warning. If we zoom out a little bit, let's give you a bit of a reset. We have a tornado warning, and look at the hook on that storm that is developing to the south. Tornado warning for St. Joseph County that runs until 6:30, and a tornado warning that confirmed tornado warning that continues for Van Buren County until 6:30. And Ellen, it looks like the rotation on this storm just south of Lawton might be picking up a bit.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately. And so folks in Nottawa do need to take cover. In addition to almost the Portage and Galesburg area, watching this storm from Decatur to Lawton, absolutely want to keep a close eye on it as it continues to move out at about 42 miles per hour at the latest storm track indication. So Augusta, Galesburg, cutting through the north side of Portage. This is just your heads up. There is no actual tornado warning yet. But because this storm has produced a tornado and has produced actual damage from that tornado on the ground near Decatur and potentially the Twin Lakes area in Cass County, that's something that you want to take seriously. As Blake was just mentioning, he's got a better view of this storm down in the Three Rivers area because he's using the Northern Indiana radar. It's a little closer to the actual cell, but even
new tornado warning for Kalamazoo County, Ellen. I'm sorry, I don't mean to step over
thank you. New tornado warning, Kalamazoo County. This is what we were just talking about. So this stretches up into Alamo. This stretches into Kalamazoo, Portage, Vicksburg.
This is no longer confirmed. They've backed this back down, but still very capable of spinning up another tornado at any time. So if you're in Kalamazoo County, sirens are going to start going off with strong rotation continuing. Yes,
and something else that we need to keep in mind is that these are moving fast and it has a history of producing a tornado. So as Blake just mentioned, storms like this frequently cycle. We will see a tornado touchdown and then a small time frame where the parent cell reorganizes. If we were to track where the actual tornado center might be, it's right on the south side of the most intense rain, and it's cutting up close to about 40 miles per hour or so. So if it were to hold this current trajectory, it would move into Kalamazoo County south of Lawton, south of Matawan. Lawton, Matawan, you'd be more likely to see some large hail potential here. This would cut up across I-94 just on the north side of Portage and on the south side of Kalamazoo. Now remember with me that this storm also has a history of occasionally jogging east. So that is just the current track based on current storm motion. Anyone in the tornado warning in Kalamazoo County needs to take cover now. This is from Vicksburg up to Alamo. Now again, Blake, just focusing in on this tornado warning down near Three Rivers, that's still looking
I don't like the look
defined.
of that at all, Ellen, and it's the classic supercell structure where we have kind of a comma shape, and this is becoming more evident here. If we were to look back over the last half hour or so, you can watch that this thing is starting to curve, and in fact, if I look at the 1 minute loop here over just the last 15 minutes, you can watch how this hook is developing. And so if you're in Centerville, you need to be in your tornado safe spot now. A tornado is imminent. I think at any moment we could see a tornado drop out of this. Not confirmed as of this time. However, I am very concerned about the town of Centerville. And there is a very strong velocity signature being picked up. Perhaps winds flowing into the storm. Looks like maybe what we have going on here, but winds are sampling at close to 100 miles an hour now. I think that's probably some radar contamination. Radar trying to play some tricks on us, but it's...
Blake, regarding this storm that is currently moving through St. Joseph County, there is a spotter there with a wall cloud that's forming on that storm. Also, a lot of rotation. Nothing verified to be reaching the ground at this moment, but certainly a situation there.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I would not be surprised if we see a tornado touchdown very close to the town of Centerville over the next few minutes. And this area of rotation is tracking east-northeast, pretty similar to the storm that we're tracking up in Van Buren County. So let's call out some street names here. If you're in the town of Centerville, you should be in your tornado safe spot, but looking a little farther east, Truckenmiller Road, Bucknell Road, Walters Road, over toward Nottawa. This is a potentially very dangerous developing situation and that you need to be in your tornado safe spot. We're also tracking that tornado warning in Kalamazoo County. Ellen, I'll let you get folks back up to speed on that.
Absolutely. This one's a little closer to the Grand Rapids radar, so this is typically the radar that we use to sample this storm. And this storm is going to be impacted by the one to the south. You'll notice storm structure when we look for that telltale hook. Storm structure is a little bit more defined south of Three Rivers versus this storm that's rolling through Lawton and Matawan, headed up towards Oshamoe and Kalamazoo. Still, if we switch views and we look at velocity, you can see that we have a good couplet. What I mean by good is it's defined. So we still have more of this inbound wind rolling and rushing into the storm than outbound. But we'll be watching scan by scan to see if this portion of the storm just south of Lawton will be able to tighten up even more so and produce a tornado. Again, just want to put a track on this here for folks that are impacted. And this is racing pretty quickly in some cases. I'm looking at scan by scan some of the radar inferred speeds. So I'm going to track this at about 40 miles per hour. This still cuts the storm between Kalamazoo and Portage. If we focus in on who might be impacted, this is on the south side of Lawton, West RS Avenue, West R Avenue, rolling over Angling Road and 131, the intersection of 131 and I-94, just over towards the south side of Kalamazoo through the Oakwood area and Lakewood. So we will continue to give you a fresh track on that, scan by scan, because it can change with the storm motion. And right now we're also waiting and watching for storm reports. Now, if you live in these areas, please do not go outside. Please go into your safe zone. There's plenty of time to report what has happened to the National Weather Service and to us here at weather@woodtv.com once this storm has passed. And there will be time quite soon, at least a lull. These are moving really fast. Luckily, if you're hearing rain in the Hastings area, Allegan County, Berry County, no need for alarm yet, but cautiously be watching this storm. We're also watching a storm that's on the north side of Muskegon. At least it will be as it gets closer and makes landfall. This is also tracking at about 45 miles per hour, and we'll update you on that. But you can see that the hail potential there is also a factor, something that we might need to watch for Whitehall.
Yeah, hey, can we come back, Ellen, to this storm? Scott, what radar are you using there? You using Grand Rapids?
That was from the Grand Rapids site, yes.
I really do not like the look of this storm over Centerville, almost due over Centerville. And if we even look at the, it's so messy, but I have reason to believe a tornado may be on the ground near Centerville. We've been trying to watch for debris. It's difficult because it's on the far southern edge. The radar's trying to play tricks on us. But both radars that I'm watching, and maybe, Ellen, you can provide some expertise with this, indicate some very strong rotation right almost directly over the center of Centerville. And winds on velocity are being sampled as high as 100+ miles per hour, 110 miles per hour. And it looks like we're just getting some new radar data here, trying to put a track on this. So it looks like it's moving northeast. So if you're in Mendon, you should be heading to your tornado safe spot. In Ottawa, just for safety's sake, you should be in your tornado safe spot. And it looks as though we may have a tornado in progress based on some of the latest velocity information that we're seeing. Oh yeah, there's a tornado on the ground. If you are
that is debris.
North of Nottawa, very, very strong indication of a tornado on the ground with this storm.
Gosh.
And this has picked up, and I don't like the look of this, Ellen, because Centerville may have just taken a direct hit.
It may have. This is the classic hook shape echo, and right now on the screen, what you see is the debris potentially headed right towards Wasepi. If you live in Wasepi, you need to get into your safe spot now. Not only do we have quite a bit of definition, as Blake was just mentioning, potentially debris.
Hey.
Now, the National Weather Service will help to confirm this for us, and if it is confirmed debris, we will see this warning change from red to purple. But Wasepi, north of Nottawa, and folks in Centerville, stay safe, go inside, take this one seriously. It may not be raining over you quite yet, but this is a fast-moving storm moving through North Angling Road, switching into velocity. And again, I'm looking with just a slightly different radar than Blake is. But sampling here, Blake's radar is cutting in at about 2,500 feet above ground. The radar that I'm using is cutting in close to about 6,000 feet. This shows that aloft, this storm has structure. This storm has power. So we're seeing a lot of these telltale signs that Centerville, you may have just impacted or been impacted by a direct hit here. And again, headed towards Walters Road, Wasepi Road, Nottawa Road, the town of Nottawa itself. Yeah.
Ellen, can we come back?
Yes.
The debris ball on this is now over a mile wide.
Yikes.
This is just north of Nottawa, Nottawa Road, Butler Road, Cup Road, M66, Prairie Corners Road. Likely a strong tornado on the ground moving in your direction. There is indications that debris has been picked up. If we can get our crews downstairs in the newsroom to get us any sort of confirmation on scanner traffic in the town of Centerville, so we can get some confirmation as to whether or not this is on the ground, that would be much appreciated. I'm nervous about what may have just occurred in the town of Centerville. That's why I'm asking that. It looks like we may have confirmation that tornado is on the ground. We're waiting that. I mean, I think this debris signature speaks for itself.
I'm hearing that a firefighter is confirming that a tornado is on the ground northeast of Centerville. Our news crews will verify that. We always try to take those news tips and run them through to make sure that they are legitimate. But I would not be surprised. And Blake, I know my heart is sinking as well. Centerville, we hope you're safe. And then Wasepi, you need to get into your safe zone, along with Mendon, Fairfax, Leonidas, Nottawa.
I'm going to keep a close eye on this, Ellen. It looks like the rotation near Lawton might be tightening up as it heads into Kalamazoo County toward the Portage area. So I'll let you take over with that.
Yeah, I will. You meant with the Kalamazoo storm?
Yeah, it looks like the rotation may be tightening back up on that storm as it crosses the line into Kalamazoo County, at least from latest radar imagery.
Yeah, and this is also intersecting the storm at about 2,000 feet. So again, that's pretty close to the ground, but it's not on the ground, and a lot can change within 2,000 feet. However, we're still getting some pretty strong velocity signatures. Let me just see if I can sample some of these. This is moving towards Texas Corners, and we're sampling winds aloft, not that far aloft, only 2,000 feet above the ground, of about 85 miles per hour. Correlation coefficient also doesn't just reveal debris to us. It can also be used to show us where hail is. We're likely seeing some hail moving through the Matawan area.
Looks like we are hearing from National Weather Service that there is very likely what we've been saying, a tornado in progress just east of Centerville, just based on the rotation. So just confirming what we've been talking about over the last few minutes.
Bottom line, this is not a good situation. And if you live in Van Buren County, but especially Kalamazoo and Cass County into St. Joseph, you want to continue to watch the weather closely. And I include our friends in Van Buren and Berrien County as well, because we still have more storms over Lake Michigan that are firing and are moving in. So this isn't one of those things where you can just watch one storm roll through and rest. We have to watch for rounds of showers and storms. These have decent upper level support. I'm going to track where the tornado might be if it did form with this Lawton cell. And again, I'm just going to track it at about 40 miles per hour off to the northeast. This would move it into Galesburg around 618, Augusta around 625. Yes.
We have the particularly dangerous situation for Kalamazoo County. Large and extremely dangerous tornado was located near Matawan, 6 miles west of Portage, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So we now have a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado that is about to track into southern Kalamazoo County. This is an extraordinarily dangerous situation for folks in southern Kalamazoo County.
Okay, southern Kalamazoo County, you need to get into your safe spot if you live in Portage, if you live in Texas Corners. This is a dangerous situation, as Blake just mentioned. And there is, you said, a confirmed tornado on the ground?
Yes.
RS Avenue.
Radar indicated large and extremely dangerous tornado.
Radar indicated large and extremely dangerous tornado. This is headed over a very populated area. If you know folks that are on Angling Road, get inside, get to your safe spot. Do not stay in a car. A ditch is actually a better spot to go to than a car in a situation like this. But there's no arguing that a sturdy building is your best bet. Texas Corners, you need to get inside now. You need to get into your safe spot. This is also moving up towards the Millam Avenue area, Romance, Shoring Road, South Portage and North Portage likely impacted by this, as well as Ashtamo. So Blake, right now, I'm going to let you take over and actually put like a track on some of these road names, and I'm going to switch, Sam, to a different spot where I can put individual tracks on this.
Just real quickly, I have bad news. We have the tornado warning in St. Joseph County now upgraded to a particularly dangerous situation as well. So we have an extraordinarily dangerous situation. 2 large tornadoes on the ground, one north of Lawton, one south of Mendon. Both have radar evidence that there's a large tornado on the ground. Let's first begin with this one up near, moving into Kalamazoo County. Now, this core of this rotation located just to the southeast of Matawan, tracking toward Portage. If you are in Portage, tornado spot now. If you're along 131, tornado spot now. We have a large tornado on the ground heading in your direction over the next several minutes. And the rotation continues to indicate that it is very strong. And this thing is tracking northeast. So this is going to be heading into a highly populated area, north side of Portage. You need to be in your tornado safe spot now. Let's get the latest track on this. This thing is moving northeast. It's picked up speed again. Track is northeast at 45 miles per hour.
45, okay.
45 miles per hour. Unfortunately, he's going to put this right into Kalamazoo here shortly after 6 o'clock. We have a tornado touchdown confirmed. That is south of, hold tight, just got confirmation. Tornado touchdown southwest of Leonidas on M66. So that is the current location. This is going to be tracking between Oshtemo and Portage, right at the intersection of 131 and 94. Ellen, I know you're very familiar with this area, and this is a highly populated area that this is moving into.
Yeah, a lot of friends and family are doing a phenomenal job, and thanks to the team here for helping to keep things updated for us. The view that Blake has right now really outlines where the intensity is. If we zoom in even more so, this is southeast of Matawan, and this really does look like it's going to be going over the intersection of 131 and 94. So we're talking southwest niche, really populated area there. Again, Texas Corners cannot say it enough. You need to be getting into your safe spot. And if we zoom in on some of the road network, oh, looks like we got a fresh scan here. This is moving right towards Portage.
Yep.
All of Portage. If you live in Portage, you need to be going into your basement now. Right now, we don't have a confirmation of any debris being lofted that I see, but the rotation is tight, yes.
We're hearing large tornado on the ground heading east toward Leidy Lake Campground. That is from emergency management. So a large tornado confirmed on the ground moving directly into the town of Portage. This is about as serious of a situation as it gets, folks. If you are anywhere in southern Kalamazoo County, in the town of Portage, if you're not there now, you need to get there now. If you have friends who may be on the road, you need to call them. There's blinding rain just ahead of this. This is likely a rain-wrapped tornado, at least in part due to the heavy rain that's occurring. Again, this is a particularly dangerous situation for the south side of Kalamazoo with a large, dangerous tornado on the ground. We also have that other tornado that continues in Centerville, which we'll get to in a moment, Ellen.
Yeah. Just telling some friends and family here also to get to the basement. We're looking at some of the velocity coming in here, looking like we're sampling this at 88 miles per hour. And that's not the forward moving speed, that's some of the winds aloft. And it's not that far aloft, we're talking 2,000 feet above the ground. Large tornado likely with this. We also are trying to keep this separate and clear from this tornado that's confirmed. That's on the south side of Leonidas, stretching between Leonidas and Colon. So please, if you're in Leonidas, Colon, Sherwood, Athens, take cover now. We really do want to focus in on this storm that's moving towards Portage. Portage, it's likely not even raining for you yet, which is probably wild. I'm sure you're hearing the thunder. There's prevalent lightning. We're seeing the potential of hail, especially in Oshtemo. That's not where the biggest action is in terms of where the tornado might be. A tornado, if it were on the ground, would still be just around the Texas Corners area, headed towards Portage. And we will shortly here get a new radar scan. I'm actually going to change our lapse increment to every minute instead of let's see, every 5 minutes if I can, so that we can get a fresh look. But gosh, Portage, this is closing in. This is a serious situation. You really need to take this one seriously. Shoring Road, Celery Flats, Portage Northern High School, Portage Central High School. This is headed towards Sprinkle Road, and then eventually toward East Kilgore. Yes, Scott.
You may have mentioned this already, but Calhoun County Emergency Management reports a large tornado on the ground heading east towards Liddy Lake Campground.
Can we focus in on where Liddy Lake is?
Hey, if I could very quickly, I know we're jumping around here, but we have another large and extremely dangerous tornado on the ground passing north of Colon. If we can, we're on graphics 2 now, thank you. North side of Colon, looks like there's a debris ball potentially a mile wide That is the center of rotation right here, and if we were to overlay that, there is a tornado on the ground north of Fairfax, north of Colon, right along West Colon Road that's going to be tracking toward Blossom Road, Ralston Road, excuse me, Dunks Road over towards Sherwood. We're also hearing of possible significant home damage in Centerville. So guys downstairs, if you have any confirmation of damage, I just need you to feed it to us through our ears, because that's how we know these tornadoes are on the ground. Likely a very damaging tornado passing just north of Colon, which will eventually be tracking over into Branch County here within the next few minutes. That is the southernmost storm. We're also tracking the other large and dangerous tornado moving into Kalamazoo County.
It seems the observation was immediately east of, let's see, M66 and southwest of the city of Leonidas from emergency management.
Okay. And folks, we just want to make sure that we're giving you accurate information. And we definitely want to be with you during this event. I know it can be quite scary, but if you're inside and in your safe space, you're in the best place you can go. Liddy Lake Campground is for the Centerville tornado, not the Kalamazoo tornado.
We have a new, particularly dangerous situation tornado warning that's just been issued for Branch County. As expected, we have a large, dangerous tornado on the ground. There it is right there. That is in effect for now Sherwood, Hodunk, Girard. That is going to eventually be moving toward I-69 in northern Branch County. This is for a large and extremely dangerous tornado that is tracking east-northeast. That runs until 6:30. Latest scan shows just to the north of Colon, between Colon and Leonidas, we have a dangerous tornado in progress that is moving east-northeast, and looks like we do continue to see indications that there is damage being produced from this tornado. So that is the southernmost storm. And meanwhile, we have the center.
There's also, Blake, there's also a new severe thunderstorm warning. It includes all of Calhoun County right now. So the city of Battle Creek, Marshall, the intersection of I-69 and I-94.
That makes sense, because the hail that could be produced by this is upwards of 2 inches in some cases. So it's not just the tornado emergency that we're really looking for, the fact that a tornado is on the ground producing damage. It's the fact that this storm is powerful in every sense of the word. So Leonidas over to Colon, over to Girard and Butler, Calhoun County. Again, take cover now. That is serious. Right now it looks to cut on the south side of Athens and Concha. However, if you live in Athens and Concha, you also need to be taking this seriously. Just sliding back over towards the northern cell that we're most concerned about. This is the one cutting through Kalamazoo County, and it's about to roll into Portage.
Just heard from our assignment desk downstairs, a scanner reporting a tornado touchdown 6 miles west of Portage near the I-94 corridor. So this is about to move over 131. The exit that this is very close to is West Center. It's right over 131 right now.
It's right over 131 right now. 131. And this is, gosh, this is just due west of Portage itself. So unfortunately, this is rolling right over a heavily populated area. Some of the street names, again, Angling Road, Oakland Drive, Vanderbilt Avenue, Shaver Road, Westnedge Avenue, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay, Ellen. I'll take over.
Yeah,
we have, no, it's okay. It's okay. This is a pretty emotional situation for us, guys. We have a dangerous tornado on the ground that is tracking almost due into Portage. If you are in the city of Portage, I cannot emphasize this enough. Get to the safest place you can. Basement, bathroom without any windows, hallways, however many walls you can separate between you and the outside, you need to do so now. We have a large tornado that is confirmed crossing over 131 near West Center Avenue that is going to be tracking into the center of Portage. Just to name off some streets: Oakland Drive, Shaver Road, Westnedge Avenue, Center Avenue, Lovers Lane, Romance Road. Core of the rotation is right here over US 131, and that is tracking east-northeast at this time. What we're going to continue to watch here is the debris track.
We can stay on too with him.
It looks like nothing defined at this point. Maybe a little bit of debris being picked up, but there are no indications that we have a ton of damage being picked up at this point.
That's actually something that's encouraging for me. This is like right over in-laws, right over friends and family. So watching it closely. But again, if you are inside and if you are, as Blake just mentioned, away from windows, especially a low level, you will be just fine. Houses have an incredible capacity to withstand really strong winds. So looking at this, it still has the classic cell structure Still looks like a defined supercell, which is not something that we typically see in West Michigan. But my goodness, that storm that's rolling into Athens that just passed through Leonidas south of the Portage area is something that we still need to watch very carefully. That too has intense winds and it has a history of producing a lot of damage. Also watching our Kalamazoo camera, and my goodness, the wind is whipping. The city of Kalamazoo itself is likely just experiencing rain and hail. The most intense wind is a little further to the south, cutting through Portage, again, passing over 131 and getting ready to likely pass on the south side of the 131 I-94 interchange. If I were to zone in on where the tornado might be on the ground right now, it would be Angling Road, Chickadee Drive, and West Center Avenue. So Angling Road, West Center Avenue, likely seeing a tornado on the ground or momentarily on the ground. These are moving fast, and occasionally they're jogging east, but often they're lifting to the northeast. Here's a track based on where that shear is, where that spin is, and it should be lifting towards Portage at 606, the actual city center, Kalamazoo 612, Parchment 616, Galesburg 620, and Gull Lake around 628. These storms are not quitting. They are strengthening. In fact, I don't know, gosh, our Kalamazoo cam is like, you can't even see what's happening because it's so intense at this point with just the rain and the hail. There it is, side by side. If you're not experiencing the wind, you absolutely are experiencing the hail and the rain. Just another indication to stay inside.
If you can get to the correlation coefficient on Portage, if you're able to. There's debris being picked up, more debris being picked up right over the center of Portage.
There's it is.
Yep, latest
right
signature indicates that there is a tornado about to make a direct hit on the city of Portage. Imminent.
Yes.
Imminent.
Center Road, West Center Avenue, Chippewa Street. Again, these are some of the roads that we've been listing off. So hopefully, as you've been hearing these roads, you have listened and you've gone to your safe spots. This circle right here indicates debris. It's on the south side of Romance Road, and it's getting ready to move over Shaver Road momentarily, within a minute or two. This is also going to continue to move into the center part of Portage itself on Southwest Nidge Avenue. So we got the library. If you know folks in the library, you need to take cover. Center and Lovers Lane. Of course, there's things like the Party Store. This is just on the north side of Portage Central High School. Melody Avenue, very close to you here. South Shore Drive, very close to you. This is actually tracking right down West Center Avenue, and we'll have to watch. Let me just see if I can take it back 15 minutes, a couple of jogs. Looks like the debris ball just formed after this passed over Angling Road and 131. So we will be monitoring each scan to see if the debris ball holds. Unfortunately, what we're seeing right now is a very defined debris ball. It's basically a bullseye. And what that means is the tornado very likely is still grabbing debris and keeping it in a very tight, defined area. If this debris ball, for some reason, begins to dissipate, get a bit wider, that's a good sign. It means that the tornado potentially would be weakening. This is not what we want to see, Blake. It's headed right towards Portage, again, north of Ramona Park.
Quick update.
There is a new tornado warning as well.
Can we go to graphics too? We have a new tornado warning issued for southern Branch County. This is separate from the confirmed tornado. We're starting to hear reports that the town of Centerville may have taken a direct hit. So again, as we get information, if you can feed that to us, that would be tremendously helpful because ground truth is the most important piece that we have. And we're just starting to get in some bad information. So this is the storm just south of Athens, moving into Sherwood right now. This is the strongest area of rotation that we have. A far northern side of Branch County, there is likely a large and extremely dangerous tornado on the ground, indicating that there may be a large area of debris being picked up just to the north of Sherwood, between Sherwood and Athens, just south of M60. Looks like we have a new tornado warning for Kalamazoo County, potentially. Let me see if I can pull this up. A confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located over Portage, moving east at 35 miles per hour. This is moving east at 35 miles per hour, basically continuing the confirmation. Just real quickly before we get there, this is the storm that we're watching that's going to be tracking toward Coldwater. here over the next several minutes. This is a storm that you're going to have to watch get to your tornado safe spot. But unfortunately, right now, we don't have time to focus on that storms that may be producing tornadoes because we have multiple storms that are producing tornadoes. And the one of main concern right now is right over the city of Portage. Here's the area of rotation. Looks like we have a new scan. This thing is just north of Romans Road, just about to cross Lover's Lane, eventually heading towards Sprinkle Road here within the next few minutes. This is the area that the tornado is on the ground right here, just south of I-94. And let's step back a few frames. You can see this is tracking northeast. So if you're up toward East North Avenue, just to the south of I-94 and to the east of US 131, we have a continued debris ball with this storm that looks to have been picked up a little bit here within the last minute or two as we have a tornado that remains in progress.
Just talking to my husband, that's literally, we have moved to a confirmed tornado warning. That makes sense with the fact that we're seeing debris with the Kalamazoo Portage tornado. We're also seeing power outages. My husband is actually 2 miles away from this tornado potentially, and he said they just lost power. And so I have a feeling we're going to continue to see this roll through Shoring Road, East Center Avenue, and then this is going to head right for the intersection of Southwest Nidge, Shaver Road. The chicken coop is right there. Again, the library is right there. Garden Lane. This is cutting into the Celery Flats region. Hopefully everyone is inside, and make sure if you are inside, you're going away from windows to your lowest level. Oakland Drive, Shoring Road. This is moving at 35 miles per hour. That's actually not something I like to see because it's tracking a bit more slowly.
We have two main areas of power outages right now. One is over Portage, which indicates a tornado is on the ground. We also have power outages flooding in down near Centerville and that other large and extremely dangerous tornado that is on the ground. So we have two areas of power outages, and if you can zoom out a little bit just to give perspective on them both. If you go a little bit farther south, yeah, thank you. Right over Colon, you see those outages? That means that there's likely a tornado that's still in progress there that is tracking eastward. So we have two areas of power outages. That's one of the first telltale signs, and we're hearing from Assistant News Director Joe LaFurgey downstairs that we are getting reports of substantial tree damage in Portage, which indicates that damage is being done by this tornado as it continues to track eastward.
Gosh, I really don't like that it's slowing down, too, because it just gives more time over these populated areas to potentially produce really strong winds.
We have new data that just came in, just about to cross Sprinkle Road. That's that tornado on the ground, and Portage is just about to cross Sprinkle Road near O Avenue, right at O.
Okay.
O Avenue and Sprinkle Road is where it's basically on top of right now.
Here's Sprinkle Road. Here we are moving over towards East Kilgore. And O Avenue is right about here. Bear with me. Just trying to get the right view. And that definitely makes sense. This is moving at about 35 miles per hour, headed out of the city of Portage. Please be very careful if you choose to go outside and assess damage. Not only do we have more storms that are upstream, power lines seem to be down in quite a few spots within the city, and those are just as dangerous. This is moving towards Ramona Park, East Shore Drive, East P Avenue, towards Collins Corner, and then eventually Cooks Mill and Scotts. If you live in Pavilion Center, Scotts, Cooks Mill, you need to take this very seriously. Already we're seeing confirmed reports of damage. I'm going to switch back to correlation coefficient, and we'll see if we can get an updated look. It's a little messier.
Yeah.
But it still definitely looks like we're seeing debris. I would love to see this signature get messier and messier because it might indicate that the tornado has taken a breather and fizzled. We'll continue to update you on that.
Let's just get back down to that tornado in progress across northern Branch County. We have a very large defined ball right in here, part of the supercell, as it continues to track basically due east. And we continue to have some sort of potential debris signature, very strong winds continuing with this storm as it's tracking almost due east now toward Girard, eventually toward I-69 here within the next, let's say, 10 minutes or so. Again, tracking almost due east, and I'm working to see if we have any more information on that storm. We are getting reports of possible structural damage in Centerville. We have crews heading that way now. But this is continuing to be a very dangerous situation, extraordinarily dangerous situation, in fact.
My goodness, and the hail, too. I mean, I know we're talking about the tornado signature, but some of the hail has to be pretty substantial in the Athens area, Sherwood, just on the north side of this storm. Go
Look
ahead.
at some of these winds being sampled by this tornado. We have winds being sampled up above at up to 150 miles per hour. Not all of that may be making it to the ground, but this is an extraordinarily well-defined, impressive area of rotation that continues here across, again, far northern Branch County. And this is where we likely have a large tornado that remains on the ground at this time. It's just so well evident on radar right here, just to the south of Athens. And this thing has been likely on the ground for at least the last 20 minutes or so, to be honest with you. I've kind of lost track of time. But there remains a very considerable threat just south of M60, moving toward I-69. If you're in Concha, not technically in a tornado warning, but you need to be getting to your tornado safe spot immediately. We likely have a tornado going to be passing very close to you here within the next few minutes.
And this is so active, especially south of, for our southern viewing area. Brian, Sue, I know you've been along with us this evening. You've been watching these storms fire. We're going to continue to look at what's happening here. Do you have any updates for us?
All right, Ellen, Blake, yes, thank you for your coverage and your professionalism. We're joining you just to reset and get you caught up to speed a little bit as these storms roll through.
Yeah, we are tracking severe weather in West Michigan. St. Joseph County Dispatch confirming that tornado that touched down in Centerville. A lot of damage there. We're told that a church, the steeple was blown off there. A lot of power outages.
Also getting word that Yoder's Country Market suffered some damage as well. 16,000 people are without power tonight in the Kalamazoo, Portage, and Centerville areas. We're watching that as well as these storms continue to fire off and come into the region.
About 6,000 without power in the Portage area. We continue to see where this tornado and the severe weather is tracking. Storm Team 8 all over it, showing you the moments that these severe storms are moving through your area and when you need to take cover.
Hey guys, we have two major updates. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Not at all.
We have a tornado emergency that is now in effect for Union City. A tornado emergency now in effect for Union City. This is actually I'm trying to get my bearings here. This just came across the wire here within the last few minutes. That is about as significant of a tornado situation as it gets. And I may need some help with this.
Yep, you're right on it. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Union City. The velocity over Union City right now is quite substantial, and we have the hook of the storm rolling right over Union City. Let me see if I can change to northern Indiana's radar and see if we have the correlation coefficient. Potentially still debris there. Again, it's kind of messy. It's hard to determine, but tornado emergency for Union City.
This is for what they're calling a potentially deadly tornado. Weather spotters confirmed it. You're in a life-threatening situation. Latest scan has just taken us through Union City, now tracking toward Concha. If you're in Concha, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. And another new development, it looks like we have a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning that has just been issued for Calhoun County, all of Calhoun County. That runs until 7:15. And Sarah, if you could work to help me out as to what that warning is for. It might be for both. That might be why they did the whole county.
The Calhoun County one's moving a little bit faster. It's moving at 45 rather than the 35.
I'm just wondering if they're issuing the warning for the southern, the one that's located over Union City, or if they're issuing that for the tornado that's currently near Portage. Might be for both.
Side note, severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Muskegon and Oceana, mainly hail. So if you're hearing a storm in your area and you live in Muskegon or Oceana, keep in mind that hail will be coming down along with winds. But right now we're going to continue to turn our attention to these two active tornado warnings, especially since one has this tornado emergency for Union City. Not a great situation there. Definitely worst case scenario with tornadoes on the ground, not lifting quickly and producing damage. Girard to Concha, over towards Homer, all need to be taking cover. Marshall, you're technically within this tornado warning zone. It goes for Battle Creek as well, but as Blake was just mentioning, it's unclear which warning is associated with it. It's for
the Union City tornado. Okay. So the southernmost one that is just about to track into Concha, that is what the warning is for. And goodness gracious, this is about as scary as it gets, right over Union City, or just about over Union City, and that is tracking almost directly into Concha. If you're in Concha, you may be in an extraordinarily dangerous situation here over the next several minutes. And a tornado emergency is extraordinarily rare, not only here in West Michigan, but across the entire country. And so that is about as severe as it gets for Union City, and then eventually tracking over toward the Teconcha area within the next 10 minutes or so. It's hard to even pick out the main area of rotation here.
Yeah.
Because it's so, oh, there it is right there. Debris.
You can see the debris, yeah.
Just east of Union City, located over Burlington Road, South County Line Road. If you're in the city of Teconcha, this is an extraordinarily dangerous situation. Tornado is on your doorstep. If you're along I-69 in either southern Calhoun or northern Branch County, this is an extraordinarily dangerous situation. This is a tornado emergency, as significant as it gets, and this tornado is on the ground moving in your direction.
Southern one's 45, the northern one is 35.
If we can, let's check in on that Portage storm. Are we able to,
Yeah.
Ellen? What's going on up there?
Just go ahead, Sarah.
I think it may have lifted briefly. I haven't seen any updates about it come in. The tornado emergency one is the one that we're getting pictures and videos for right now. Not sure if you saw it.
This one that's warned in the Kalamazoo region, you're going to notice that the rain is stopping for Portage, even for Kalamazoo up towards Parchment temporarily. All the heavy rain is headed towards Galesburg, Augusta, Climax, Richland, Gull Lake, and headed towards Bedford. As we've been mentioning, storms like this frequently cycle. So occasionally you can get a touchdown, occasionally you can see it dissipate as it continues to track with its parent storm, and then occasionally you can see another touchdown. So we by no means are going to be sleeping on this storm. However, it does look like when I was looking at the correlation coefficient, the debris signature is not nearly as defined as it was. If we look at shear, it's still present, but it's not as tight of a couplet. This, for example, shows us the shear tracks as this storm went on the south side of Lawton, south of Matawan, where it became a confirmed tornado, into the Portage area and across I-94. Now, currently, it's weakened just a touch, as Sarah just mentioned. So that's an incredibly accurate depiction of what's happening now. But if you live in Galesburg, Augusta, Bedford, you still want to take cover, because the winds aloft and the winds at the surface are still conducive for spin. This is one of those setup days where we don't necessarily need a ton of surface support to see large tornadoes. My goodness, you can see this line of tornado warnings extending down into Coldwater, and we even have a new fresh tornado just south of Jamestown in Indiana.
Can I do a quick reset, Ellen? Do you mind?
Absolutely,
I have everything pulled up. There's just so much going on. So here's a wide view. You're looking at a severe thunderstorm warning up in Muskegon and Oceana County. That's for winds to 60 miles per hour. Also some storms developing just to the west of Holland that we're going to have to keep a close eye on. Severe thunderstorm warning in Benton Harbor. But this is the complex of tornadic storms. So I'm going to circle them one by one. Confirmed large tornado, at least as of a few minutes ago, located just to the northeast of Portage. We have a large and extremely dangerous tornado on the ground near Union City, a tornado emergency in effect that's tracking toward Teconcha. We have a tornado warning in effect for a potential tornado moving toward the city of Coldwater, and we have a new tornado warning that has been issued for southern Branch County that's going to be tracking over toward Hillsdale. So we have 4 potentially tornadic storms, with one that is certainly doing substantial damage just on the doorstep of Teconcha here within the next few minutes. We're just getting some potential information from our assignment desk downstairs as well. Potential building collapse in Portage, which would suggest what we've been seeing on the radar of a tornado touchdown.
Thank you for that reset. It's incredibly helpful. I think we also need to remember that we're not done yet with this time frame where showers and storms can form. We have fresh storms that are forming in Berrien County, one south of Benton Harbor. And because of the way that the parent wind is traveling, it likely is going to be tracking over some of these same areas. So hail, wind, all a threat. This particular cell is one that we'll be watching. It's going to head towards Sodus, Keeler, Hartford. And we still have a lot of warnings that are active and on the ground, a lot of lightning too. That's one clear way that we can just glance at a situation and see how healthy a storm is. Unfortunately, the more lightning, the more powerful the storm likely is, and the more likely it is that it's going to continue to survive at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Teconcha, Burlington, Homer, you absolutely need to get into your safe spot now. Switching gears and looking at the wind inside the storm, we're still seeing some pretty powerful numbers here coming in aloft. And if I sample here, switching and sampling with a different radar, we're getting similar values. I mean, wind speeds coming in close to about 85 to even almost 100 miles per hour over Teconcha. And we have a history of these tornadoes touching down and staying down at times. So Takancha, absolutely a huge concern. We're also looking for M60 and the intersection of M60 and I-69. It looks like the latest scan south of Takancha has gotten even more intense. This is for Marshall Road, getting close to where Marshall Road intersects I-69, and then getting ready to roll into East County Line Road. These are occasionally tracking due east, occasionally lifting to the northeast. That's why some of these tornado warnings are so broad. It's because the center of circulation and where a tornado could touch down could absolutely change back and forth, wiggle as it tracks with the parent storm. On the plus side, it looks like the Kalamazoo storm is looking a little bit more dispersed to me.
It's a weaker signature.
Yeah.
We have to be careful because this storm already cycled once.
Yeah.
And what concerns me the most is that if the storm is cycling, Battle Creek could potentially be picking up on some winds here in the next 15, 20 minutes. So thankfully, again, at this time, we do not have, there's no evidence of a tornado on the ground right now near Galesburg, just a rotation up above. But if you're in Battle Creek, now's the time to probably be heading to that tornado spot.
Yeah, I think on days like this, when the wind is moving so quickly, it's always good to see what's happening just upstream of you. So Augusta, Bedford, Battle Creek, even over towards Bellevue and Olivet, just kind of keep in mind that these storms have a history of producing tornadoes on the ground, and they are moving towards you. Latest sample radar indicated speed for the Kalamazoo County tornado is tracking east-northeast at about 38 miles per hour. Right now it looks like with the current track of this, Augusta arrival time 6:30, Battle Creek arrival time right around 6:41. That goes for Bedford as well. We'll continue to put some fresh tracks on that into some of the more populated areas as that moves forward. But it really is getting messier in structure. Again, Plainwell, Prairieville, Hastings, Carlton, just rain for you. And then Muskegon, Dalton, watch for some large hail and some large wind. We might want to watch this cell that's on the north side of Whitehall, just briefly moving up here into Fruitvale, Rathman, over towards Whitehall Road, I-31, US 31, excuse me. This cell could potentially produce some pretty powerful hail, which is another threat that's ongoing today.
I wonder if now that we're coming up on getting close to 6:30, if Brian and Sue, are you guys hearing of any reports? What are you seeing? We haven't seen the power outage map in a little bit. How is that looking right now?
Sure, that's being updated, of course. We continue to have 22,000 is the latest number without power at this point. We do have crews that are headed that way. They will be giving us updates on some of the damage. We do know that, as we mentioned earlier, a steeple has come off of a church in Centerville. So there's a lot of damage, a lot of trees down, as you can imagine. So we're continuing to gather that information as our crews safely get to that scene and talk with residents and see some of the damage on the ground.
Just getting updated numbers too, Sue, from our producers. 8,000 people without power in Portage, 3,000 without power in Centerville. Those were the two communities that have suffered some of the most damage tonight.
So we continue to watch what's happening there. We're following along with what you're telling us as far as the communities that need to take cover and go to their safe zones so that they too can make sure that they're ahead of this storm as it sweeps across the region there. So back to you guys.
Thank you. And I appreciate just the quick update. Nice to provide some context as to what all is happening. It's turned into a very busy evening very quickly, and it's nice to catch our breath for just a moment. So I appreciate that, Brian and Sue. Thank you both. We have numerous tornado warnings that remain in effect. Two main areas of circulation that we continue to watch. There it is in motion. If you're in Takancha, there's likely a tornado in progress right over you, just to the south side of you. That is moving off to the northeast. At this time, it looks like that might be the only, and it's crazy to even say that, the only tornado that we have on the ground at this moment. There is some circulation we're watching near Coldwater. At this time, we're not getting any debris being picked up on radar yet, and so that's a good sign. If you're in Coldwater or Quincy, there may be a tornado forming, but at this time we don't have one on the ground. And then the northernmost one is the one we're most concerned about that's now tracking into Teconcha, right over Teconcha right now, right over I-69, that'll eventually be heading toward the Homer area here over the next, let's call it 10, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, the problem is we're watching two of those rotating cells move in to the same county. So that's a little bit confusing, having almost two that you're watching there. But like Blake said, it does look like they're a little bit broader than they were initially, even just a few scans ago. So we have that going. Not getting any reports. We've kind of stopped getting a flood of pictures and videos, at least from those two.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a good sign that at least upcycled.
One of the things that I'm concerned about too is if we have anybody that's driving on M60. Right. As this storm is rolling over to Concho, I was kind of rewinding just a bit to see storm motion, and it looks like it's moving right over, the strongest velocity is moving right over M60 as it heads towards Clarendon. And in general, this storm motion is tracking a little bit more due east than northeast in the last few scans, which is something we've been watching. Also, just want to double check on what's going on up near Augusta. Any strengthening there? It looks like our shear tracker is picking up on some strong rotation near Range Road on the southeast side of Augusta.
The thing about that is it's tracking almost due east.
Yeah.
And so right towards Springfield and Battle Creek, which is a little concerning.
Let's just put a track on that. Storm motion still about 35, 40.
Yep.
I'm going to estimate 40. Arrival time for Springfield, goodness, 6:31. Battle Creek, 6:34. So momentarily here. Again, still just waiting to see if this storm can cycle. Right now, reflectivity and velocity showing that it's a bit messier, but as it moves towards M94, Battle Creek, we could start to see a new strengthening. And again, just in general, it's interesting how these storms lift to the northeast and then occasionally with the actual tornado-warned portion of the storm, jog due east. So that's why it's good if you're in the warning at all to take cover.
Ellen,
yeah,
we just got a remarkable hail report out of Union City, 4 inches in diameter.
I don't remember.
In Union City, we're trying to find, that report just came across from the Weather Service 4 minutes ago. Picture shared on Twitter, hailstone
That's
measuring upward of
softball.
4 inches.
Oh, okay, softball size hail. So we have had softball size hail before in Michigan, but it's definitely a rarity. And that was Union City?
Yeah, actually, yep. I'm going to send the picture to our newsroom here. But yeah, 4-inch hail. So even, I mean, combined with the rotation, the hail is enough to do very substantial damage.
Not great news for farmers either, especially as many of them are in the fields already. And gosh, folks that were hit by a hail system, was it a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
Still just now recovering in some cases. Wright's Corners could also be seeing some large hail at this moment in time. If we look at hail trackers specifically, we could also be seeing some larger hail up towards Muskegon area. This would be Whitehall, Lakewood Club, lifting up towards Duck Lake and Dalton.
Be honest with you, I don't love the look of those storms forming over parts of Ottawa and Allegan County as well. That area hasn't received any precipitation yet, so I think that the storms that extend from like Port Sheldon Township down to just offshore of South Haven, nothing to be concerned about yet, but they are continuing to develop, and they're developing pretty quickly.
And you can see that with the hail tracker too, if you show that. We'll see what they do when they arrive, but.
Hearing from Kalamazoo County Emergency Management, we may have the news department have to check in on this potential hit at the FedEx building at Port Road and Stryker Way. A potential partial building collapse there at the FedEx building. That would likely, I assume that'd be in Portage and Stryker. So we continue to get damage reports in from the Portage area from the tornado that likely passed through there.
Also seeing in our latest scan, the storm that we are watching in Berrien County, south of Coloma, starting to see another intensification. This is on the north side of Sister Lakes. It'll be headed on the north side of Keeler and headed towards Decatur, Paw Paw, Matawan once again. So same area that experienced the tornado-warned system just about an hour or so ago. And already starting to see what could potentially be a slight indentation, a slight hook. So we'll be watching that one carefully, scan by scan.
Rotation is trying to tighten up as it heads into Battle Creek. I'm not loving the look of it right now.
A little bit better of a debris signature as well.
Yeah,
That should be right over the airport.
Yeah, rotation couplet just about to move into Springfield. This is a very highly populated area. If you are in Battle Creek, you need to be heading to your tornado safe spot if you're not there already. Sirens have likely been going off for a while. But this thing is going to be tracking almost into downtown Battle Creek, or this area of rotation is. And considering the tornado warning remains in effect, this could drop at any moment. And so it's important to be taking your tornado precautions. If you're in places like Battle Creek, Springfield, the surrounding areas, we may have a tornado developing in that area right now.
I think it's important to note, too, they're still marking that tornado warning as confirmed. They've dropped other ones, so they must have some level of confidence that this either has just briefly lifted or is coming back down to the ground as we speak. So, yeah, it's headed right towards Battle Creek, still at about 35 miles per hour.
35?
Yep.
I'll put a fresh track on it here. If we go to graphics 1, we zoom in on that cell. This is rotation tracker. It just kind of gives a cleaner view as to where the rotation might be. Here's the airport there. Arrival time potentially 6:36, if not sooner. Springfield Place, 6:39. Capitol Avenue Southwest, just on the south side of Battle Creek, 6:40, and then headed towards Main Street around 6:43. Springfield, 6:36. Michigan Avenue on the northwest side of Battle Creek, 6:40, and then Battle Creek itself around 6:42.
The wind that's being picked up here on the east side of the rotation is being measured close to 60 miles per hour. And so even if we don't have a tornado in progress at this point, there's likely strong winds ongoing, and there are indications that this storm may be at least trying to cycle and increase in rotation. So I think this is a pretty concerning situation for the city of Battle Creek here over the next 10 minutes or so.
The storms further north, we got a hail report, 0.8 inches, so almost an inch hail at that point too. So Muskegon, Ottawa County area where you're seeing those storms roll in, also producing hail and some damaging winds. It doesn't look like there's any rotation in that line.
That should be headed to Ferry around 6:52, Dayton Center around 6:59. It's for those storms that Sarah was just mentioning. In Oceana County, arrival time into Huber around 6:54, and Colfax close to 7.
So let's do another quick reset now that we're past 6:30. We are obviously overriding nightly news for what has been ongoing. We have several tornado warnings in effect that remain in effect. If you're in Kalamazoo County, the threat has essentially moved east of you, at least for now. Don't let your guard down, but the tornadic storm that prompted that warning has since moved out. We have tornado warnings that remain in effect for eastern Branch County, all of Calhoun County, and then it still remains in effect for eastern Kalamazoo, but the threat has really shifted east of there. Now what we're focused on are two main areas of rotation and possible tornadoes. One that is to the northeast of Teconcha moving toward Homer, and another area of rotation that is trying to pick up heading toward the core of Battle Creek.
Oh, seeing some damage coming in from the Portage area. Looks like a building knocked down, or at least damaged. I'm going to get this to our news department just to double check, but right next to the Great Wall Chinese food place on Oakland and Center. So we are starting to see the confirmed damage reports coming in. And of course, sometimes damage is dependent on the structural integrity of each building. So our damage assessments are going to be a little spotty at first, but we will be sending our reporters on scene to verify. But what this shows us, again, is that these storms mean business, and they're not done yet. I think that the advice for Calhoun County to continue to take cover is good. I think Hillsdale, you also need to start worrying about some of these storms. Maybe not worrying, but preparing. That's a better word. You need to start preparing for these storms that have been passing through Jamestown in northern Indiana and Coldwater. Hillsdale, these will be headed close by you. You're being split basically by 2 tornado warnings.
We're just getting a new picture of damage from Portage. As soon as we can get that on the air, that would be preferable. We have looks like a picture of what looks to be potentially significant damage in Portage. So to the folks in the booth, as soon as we can get that on the air, that would be preferable. So we have two main areas of rotation. As mentioned, we have this storm that continues to show rotation. No immediate sign of a tornado on the ground, but that's tracking right over Battle Creek. So anyone in Battle Creek wants you to take shelter just to be safe. And then we have what looks to be a little more defined rotation from what was earlier a large and extremely dangerous tornado that is moving into Homer. If you're in Homer, you should continue to shelter if you're not there already. And it looks like they have, so we have the tornado warning continuing until 7:15 for Calhoun County, severe thunderstorm, capable of producing a tornado near Battle Creek, moving northeast at 30. And then we have that second severe thunderstorm. They both had a history of producing damaging tornadoes. Both of these areas that you see circled have a history of producing damage. And so that is why we're taking these storms incredibly seriously. Both are moving about northeast at 30 miles per hour. The one near Battle Creek moving more due east.
And it looks like we are getting some of these damage pictures into our newsroom, so hopefully we can effort these, hand these over to Brian and Sue here soon so that they can walk us through the exact location. So producers in the booth, we'll let you kind of compile those, make sure you're getting the correct permissions, making sure that it's a verifiable damage from this system and from these storms. Just sending you another one of a potential view of the tornado. Thank you to those folks who are sending us damage pictures along with the time and the location, but please be safe in doing so. We want to make sure that you are staying safe before and after every storm. Power lines are no joke. You also have to watch for things like gas leaks. And because we actually have confirmed damage from this storm that rolled through Portage.
Oh, goodness. Hey, if we can get those pictures up. We just got some brand new pictures in. Thank you to Katie from our web staff. Guys, if we can get those on the air as soon as possible, we need to show those. The damage that has occurred in Portage. So as soon as you guys are ready, let us know and we'll hand it over to Brian and Sue. But we're starting to get pictures of substantial damage in the city of Portage from the tornado that rolled through here within the last hour or so.
Wonderful, thank you. Takes a team here. And again, we always want to make sure that these pictures are verified too. Things move fast, but we never want to spread misinformation. That's why we have our whole team here at Wood TV8 working together, looking at these checks and balances, and we're not just showing you every picture that's popped into our inbox. So trying to be responsible about what we're seeing, how we're delivering it to you, and also just bottom line, want to keep you safe. It does look like the cell over Battle Creek, which was once a tornado-warned storm, is starting to weaken. Here is a view of the damage that we were talking about. This is in the Portage area on Oakland Drive. So you can see not only the debris, but the fact that the storm has gone. So we almost have what is a sunny view. Definitely building damage here. Looks like the roof is removed on one building, but still intact for the Great Wall Chinese restaurant next door. This is a great indication of how wind can impact structures differently. We've got a tree that's in great shape right in front of this damage picture. So again, when it comes to tornado damage, it's very hit or miss. And that means you need to take a lot of caution when you're heading out. Thank you for this picture. It's a great indication of what these storms can do. And I'm so glad that we were on the air warning as this rolled through.
Yeah, we're getting some more pictures too, and I know you guys are swamped, but some even more remarkable pictures in the city of Portage, which are unfortunate to see. We have no word yet of any injuries, and of course we'll defer to our news department for that. But we do continue to get damage reports. At this time, and again, once you guys are ready to kind of take that over and report on what you've seen, please let us know. But at this time, what we're continuing to track is a tornado warning in effect for Calhoun County and a tornado warning, several tornado warnings that remain in effect for Eastern Branch County. The two areas that we do continue to watch pretty closely. One just passing north of Homer, this core area of rotation right here, and then we have some broad rotation near Battle Creek, which thankfully, as Ellen mentioned, has continued to weaken. Now, we're not saying you're out of the woods yet. You should continue to shelter in place, but at this time, we're not seeing any indication that there is a tornado in progress, which of course is great news.
Yeah, and the line of storms, I don't want to discount those further north. They're not warned. They are subsevere. Even the radar samplings towards Muskegon, Robinson, Holland, that's good. So it truly is just the tornado warnings in effect for our southern counties there that we're closely
That's a good point, Sarah. If you're in Ottawa County, Allegan County, you're going to start seeing some heavy rain here within the next hour or so. At this time, nothing that would indicate those storms are capable of producing any sort of tornadoes at this time. And if that changes, of course, we'll be the first be the first to let you know.
Yeah, the strongest storm, I think, is the one moving towards Hillsdale at this point. That is coming out of northern Indiana, almost pretty much out of our area at this time. It has a decent look on radar as far as that velocity or that storm movement that we're tracking. But keep in mind, it's kind of in between radar sites, so the scan isn't going to be great. So if you're, again, towards Hillsdale, Pittsford, and headed towards the central portion of the state, or know someone in that direction, I'd say that's the strongest rotation that we're seeing right now. It is confirmed. It could have lifted a bit, but something to keep a close eye on as well.
Oh, hey, we just got a picture from our folks at the Michigan Storm Chasers of very significant damage at the FedEx facility.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I'm gonna send that on to our news department, but that is potentially substantial structural damage that has occurred in Portage, and I think in a few minutes here we'll probably do a reset just to explain to you what all has happened. Here's a look at South Haven. Saw the severe thunderstorms roll through earlier. Now the sun's back out. It's like nothing ever happened.
Fast moving. I mean, my goodness. This is one of those reasons why it's important for us to just be watching frame by frame. Speaking of which, just looking at radar imagery again, this cell that's rolling on the north side of Homer could be producing a tornado on the ground. Decent couplet there, headed towards Condit, Babcock, right on the south side of Albion. Sounds like we have video from Portage at this time.
Yeah, so what you're seeing is a lot of trees on the ground. That's a lot of the reports that were coming in right now. We have photos of building damage, roofs blown off, in addition to those trees on the ground. Power outages coming in as well.
And you can see how the debris is being thrown, and some of the trees are falling in different directions, so at first glance, more indicative of potentially tornado damage versus straight line winds. Not surprising with the radar signature, but I'm sure as survey crews head out onto the scene, they'll be able to see exactly the path of the tornadoes that cut across Portage. Thank you for that, guys.
Yeah.
We're also getting some pictures of maybe even the tornado itself. We're going to verify those before we show them to you on air. Now remember, we had a few tornado warned cells that we were tracking. The one that cut across Portage and Kalamazoo, and then the one that rolled through Union City. Right now, seeing an improvement, but we still have some of those cells that are popping just to the west of Allegan County. I want to pop in reflectivity here. Not seeing any strong development, which is what we'd like to see. Folks in Holland, Grand Rapids, this would actually be the first storms for you.
It looks like they just renewed that severe thunderstorm warning for Muskegon and Oceana. Runs until 7:15. Main threat now is 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm as it continues to track almost due east, it looks like.
Do they have a speed?
Northeast at 40 miles per hour, excuse me.
Okay. So, potentially damaging winds if we take graphics 1 here for Holton, 647, Sitka, 651, Dayton Center, 655, Fremont, 658, Newaygo, 709, White Cloud, 712, and Big Prairie close to about 722. Again, that is for a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. This is for Muskegon County, stretching up into Oceana, for the potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds.
Ellen, if you don't mind, there's a new storm forming almost just to the west of Decatur that is actually picking up a little bit of steam. Here it is in southern Van Buren County. And if we look at this, I mean, we've been tracking the census been in Berrien County, but it's maintaining its strength. And what I'm interested in is a little bit of rotation that's starting to be detected just south of Decatur. Now, important to note, there's no warnings on this at this time, but this is the area that I think might be worth watching here over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. We're seeing, this thing is by itself, it's discrete. And Ellen, it looks like we might be seeing something start to pick up here.
Not to mention, this would be headed towards the same folks that just experienced the tornado warning. We're talking Wanton, Matawan, Texas Corners, Portage, Galesburg, Augusta. No surprise that it would be headed in the same spots because the winds aloft have not changed, the steering winds taking these storms in the same spots. But as we mentioned before, sometimes a severe threat will just drop off once a storm fires and moves to the east, but today is different. And the reason why today is different is because these storms have so much support at the upper levels that they don't necessarily need sunshine in order to get that big punch, in order to get that big support aloft. So unfortunately, on days like today, we really have to watch until the end of the tornado watch, which is 9 p.m., to see each individual cell and how it's going to behave in this environment. And you can see some cells that behave just fine. Hastings, welcome rain. Hastings, even just a couple of flashes of lightning, but not much more than that. Just to do a reset, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're just hearing from an injury from a train spotter in Kalamazoo. A woman looks to be potentially hit by debris in Portage with a leg injury. So that's the first possible injury we're hearing from this. Just getting word from that from the National Weather Service just northeast of Portage as that tornado was rolling through. We're still waiting.
As you were saying, Kalamazoo now out of the warnings, but if that storm were to strengthen, again, you may be back in a warning. So it may not be the best idea to run those errands or get outside right now.
No,
I would continue to shelter in place, at least for the time being, until that.
And there's going to be that urge to get out and look at the damage in the Portage area. We're seeing some pretty substantial reports of structural damage there. Still waiting on confirmation on some of those. Don't go out. It's a mess. Wires down, trees down. Emergency responders need to get to some of those folks.
Yes, absolutely. You don't want to get in the way. We do have a few pictures from folks that live by that area. We're going to turn it over to Brian and Sue. They've been monitoring some of these storm damage pictures that have been coming into the newsroom. Can you walk us through what folks are seeing?
Yes, we are continuing to follow some of the damages that has rolled through the area. You're looking at some pictures right now where you can see that buildings have been severely damaged by some of these storms.
We're being told that this is in Portage at the area of Oakland and Center. And you can see damage is significant. And again, two different communities in our southern tier here dealing with what appears to be a direct hit from tornadoes tonight. St. Joseph County Dispatch confirming a tornado touchdown in Centerville. We're getting reports of 4 inches in diameter hail. A tornado also touching down in Portage. Consumers Energy reporting tonight 21,000 people without power.
That's right. And that number continuing to be updated. It has now been updated to 25,000, just getting word from our producer on that. Here's another other images brought to you by a driver. You can see that the trees are flattened in this area in Portage. And so you can see this driver slowly going by as the storm has moved through. We continue to just follow these images that are coming in now because listening to Storm Team 8, we were able to get a track on this and know when the severity of this was hitting the Portage area as well as Centerville. And it seems to be going through West Michigan at this point. Some of the rotation now in the clouds, as the Storm Team 8 has mentioned, but still the potential of it touching down. So it's important to stay and take cover in the areas that they've been noting. Again, take a look at this damage that has happened in the Portage area. These buildings absolutely decimated by this tornado that's touched down, and we continue to follow other severe storms that are going through West Michigan at this time.
As you see, the damage here is significant. We're talking about collapsed buildings, roofs ripped off of these structures, the walls exposed, debris everywhere. In fact, our meteorologists seeing some pretty well-formed debris clouds as these storms rolled through. We do have 2 news crews working the region down there tonight. We are awaiting to hear from them as well as they're providing some more of these images and information coming in tonight.
Again, 25,000 without power at this time. We will continue to monitor the numbers. We'll bring you the very latest and show you the pictures that continue to come into the newsroom just as soon as we get them. Back to you guys.
Brian, Sue. We're watching a few areas. We're just getting a report now from emergency management that the Oaklawn Hospital in Marshall looking toward Marengo, although now that I look at that report, I'm not sure if there's potential for still some rotation with that storm that's just moving past Albion over into Jackson County, which is not a surprise considering it dropped a tornado. But we are also continuing to watch not only the tornado warning that remains in effect for Calhoun County. Let me zoom out a little bit here. We have a tornado warning that does remain in effect for Calhoun County. If we look at areas of potential rotation, one area that I'm a little stuck on, Ellen, maybe you can help with this, is right near Union City again. It's hard to tell if this is legit or not, but radar is trying to indicate that there might be more rotation there.
Near Decatur.
Yeah.
It could be a quick spin up for sure. It's not nearly as strong as the other rotations that we initially saw. Even in Calhoun County a bit too. We'll have to keep an eye out.
I don't like the look of this storm in Van Buren County.
No,
too.
I don't either.
Yeah.
This one that's lifting into Pawpaw, Lawton, headed right towards Kalamazoo. Here's the thing too, emergency crews are already out on scene for the Portage tornado situation. Just hearing from friends saying that the entire area is roped off, they're staying away, they're giving crews the space to work, but it's a mess. And we are starting to see rotation just on the east side of Decatur. This is south of Lawton. Decent lightning with this cell, indicating that it potentially has strength once more. Shear rate is still not overly impressive, but we're beginning to see the very start of definition. And what's more, this cell is alone. Oftentimes when cells are standing alone, they're given room to form and to grow and to gain circulation down to the surface. So Pawpaw, Kalamazoo, Lawton, watching this one closely, headed towards Almena, Oshtemo, and Parchment. Arrival time for Pawpaw 6:56, Metawan 7:04, Oshtemo 7:14, and Portage 7:21. Looking at the arrival times here on Graphics 1, you can see the circle. Also switching gears, this looks like pictures of
Can you tell us where this is?
I think that was
St. Joseph County, Union City.
Leonidas.
Oh, and Leonidas?
Leonidas. Yeah, I believe that's the one.
Look at the hailstone there, Blake.
Wow, apple size. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Thank you to folks that have been sending these in, that have been signing the permission form for us so that we can get permission to show these on air. And this is a good indication that it's not just a tornado that we've been watching. It's not just one system. It's several threats, winds to 60 miles per hour in the Muskegon area. We've been seeing large hail. In fact, softball-sized hail reported earlier.
Yeah, Union City.
In Union City.
And as Ellen mentioned, you can always send photos to weather@woodtv.com. But again, as far as Kalamazoo County, going out and taking photos of the damage right now, it's risky because we're watching that discrete cell just off to the west. Which still does have a little bit of rotation with it. It looks weaker on that latest scan, Blake, if you see it.
Yeah, just heard from Weather Service said they're not seeing enough low-level rotation, which of course is good news. We don't want to see enough low-level rotation. That storm does continue to bear close watching, as it is now about to track into the same areas that just received the storm. But the other thing to keep in mind too is that the atmosphere has been worked over, at least to a degree, by those earlier storms. That's not to say we can't see storms again. But the likelihood of them being as intense as the first round is low. Not zero, but low.
Not seeing any hail with that storm either, which is good news. We can kind of look at our hail swath, and it seems like most of those were with that tornado-warned storm. But still, I could see it, gaining a little bit of strength. All of these storms are firing up right along our warm front, so they're going to hold on to that momentum for at least the time being. Again, that tornado watch staying in effect till 9 o'clock, so we still have about 2 hours to go, where there is the potential we see more storms fire up and be able to produce this damage.
So we have two areas where tornado warnings remain in effect. The first is all of Calhoun County. The warning remains in effect, although at this point there are no imminent signs of a tornado on the ground, which is great news. Of course, continue to shelter in place. As we've already seen, we've had damaging tornadoes roll through already. Meanwhile, we have a tornado warning that remains in effect for southeastern Branch County, but that storm has already moved off into your east toward Hillsdale. We also continue to track developing potential supercell in Van Buren County, a potential storm, a line of non-severe showers and thunderstorms rolling through Ottawa County, non-severe thunderstorms in parts of Barrie, Eden, and Ionia, and then a severe thunderstorm warning that should be expiring shortly for Muskegon and Oceana for winds up to 60 miles per hour. So radar does remain active. If you're in Calhoun County, the sirens continue to sound. Tornado warning in effect for another 20 minutes, and given the history of this storm, they'll likely hold on to it at least for a bit longer. But thankfully, at this time, no pressing signs of a tornado in progress, which is what we want to see.
Exactly. That's 100% what we'd like to see. We are getting more and more pictures, even video, coming into the newsroom of the tornado that passed through Portage, as well as the one that passed through St. Joseph County. And I do think that we have this nice lull as Blake just mentioned, so some of these standalone cells that we might have to monitor are not only the one that's tracking just on the east side of Decatur, that one that's highlighted in Pawpaw, but if we look at this one in North Muskegon, headed towards Fremont.
Switch over to graphics one.
This one also has the potential to produce some damage, 60-mile-per-hour winds, potentially some large hail. We do have a reporter on the scene. We want to get back over to Brian Sterling, Sue Shaw. Brian, Sue, who do you have with us?
Boy, continuing to monitor what's going on throughout the atmosphere. We appreciate all that you guys have been telling us. We do have Taylor Morris, who is standing by on the phone. She has arrived in the area. Taylor, what are you seeing?
Hey, Sue, Brian. Yeah, so we're on US 131 right now. We just left the Portage area. Not too much damage where we're at right now, but we did see a lot of like big, thick tree trunks down along the highway there. That's about the only thing we've seen so far. Is we just drove through Schoolcraft and we're still heading south, but it does seem to be, the power seems to be on in the area that we are right now. We're passing the McDonald's near Schoolcraft and the BP gas station. And the damage in this area doesn't seem to be too bad yet. Like I said, the only thing we've really seen so far are just lots and lots of trees near Portage that were along the highway and down in that area. And the traffic isn't too bad either. We've noticed so far as well, which is good, but we're still heading south.
So not a lot of people out on the roads at this point. As far as damage is concerned, it's primarily just trees down is what you're seeing in the location that you're at right now.
Yeah, yep. Where we're at right now, we are on the corner of Lyon and Grand. And like you said, and like I said earlier, there's not too many people on the roads, which is good. They seem to have polish still in this area, but the biggest thing we've seen near the Portage area is a lot of trees that were uprooted and down. So
we will continue to monitor what's happening there. Taylor, thanks for checking in. We'll continue to talk with you as you arrive in different locations around Portage. We are seeing the video and the images coming in from various viewers that are showing extreme damage to some of the buildings down there.
Telltale signs from the naked eye in some of those pictures, just the way the trees are down.
Yeah.
You can tell that something with rotation went through there.
The last numbers that we know of that came in, 25,000 without power and some buildings seeing severe damage there. We will continue to check in with Taylor as well as other crews that we have in the area to gain more information.
Thank you, Brian. Sue. Let's take it back to graphics 2 if we can. A little concerned because as these potential rescue operations are ongoing, we have graphics 2, if we can, please. We have a new thunderstorm that is developing and moving toward the area that has just seen a tornado. If we can take graphics 2, please. Thank you. This storm has lightning with it too, which makes it even more dangerous. And if we loop here over the last 15 minutes, this storm is tracking essentially toward Portage. And this storm continues to show some signs of rotation, not enough to prompt a warning at this point. But as likely recovery and rescue operations are ongoing in the city of Portage and among this tornado damage path, we're now seeing a new thunderstorm that's developing, a dangerous thunderstorm with lightning that is tracking almost the exact same path that the previous one just took. And so that is what concerns me the most here over the next half hour, is that we have lightning and a strong thunderstorm that is progressing toward the city of Portage. And that's a good reminder for our crews as well that are down in the Portage area or heading down there. Additional thunderstorm is on the way.
Temperatures in that area is still close to 70 degrees with a decent amount of humidity. Our parent wind is still coming in out of the southwest, and our surface wind is still coming in at the southeast in some portions. So what's nice about this setup is we're not seeing as much of the directional wind change with height, but we're still seeing a lot of speed change, and that's enough to create some pretty intense storms. Something else I just want to show you. Look at South Haven briefly. My gosh, sun out, storms in the distance.
After storms.
After the storms, right. And this once again shows us that the atmosphere can recover and produce more.
If we can get, I think we need to start treating this Lawton storm as if it may be getting closer to producing some sort of either strong rotation or potential tornado. I mean, this has not only a classic supercellular look to it, but we're tracking rotation has picked up pretty significantly just to the south of Lawton. We do not have a warning on this at this time, but what frightens me the most is that this is almost the exact same path that the previous storm just took.
This really is. It's headed towards Matawan, Oshawa, Portage, Kalamazoo, right over the intersection of I-94 and 131. So this is the storm path. Here is a look at the rotation mode. So the shear tracks, it shows us where the rotation might be picked up by the radar as being most significant. If we switch to base velocity, it's a little muddier in this current view, but shear rate helps to show us the story. So this would be some increased intensity and rotation on the south side of Lawton, moving over towards 26th Street, tracking towards 23rd. And this originated in Decatur. This would be moving over County Road 652, headed just on the south side of Matawan, and once again crossing over I-94, this time headed on the north side of Portage instead of the south side of Portage. Again, not a tornado warning, not even a severe thunderstorm with it at this point, but we are tracking quite closely, scan by scan and second by second. If we just take it back the last 15 minutes.
A little update with hail too.
Yeah. You can see we're starting to get this classic V shape a bit more. That's one of the first signs that we look for. We also start to look for some notching right around here.
Weather Service says they're noticing the same thing. No warning yet, but an uptick in rotation here in Van Buren County. Awaiting a new scan on this. At this time, this is where we have potential, or there is rotation there, just a matter of how strong it is. The core of it looks to be just to the southeast of Lawton, so moving again toward Texas Corners and Portage. No warnings on it at this time, but again, I've said it several times, but there's recovery, substantial cleanup that is likely just beginning in the Portage area. And now we have a second storm to worry about that is tracking its way in that direction. No warnings at this time, but I think that this should be likely our focus here over the next several minutes. We do still have a tornado warning in effect for Calhoun County. No major signs of concerning rotation at this time. No, not at this time. Sorry, just trying to catch my bearings.
Yeah,
it's been a little bit of a...
Yeah, there's nothing confirmed on the ground. I mean, they downgraded that one ever so slightly. It still could potentially...
Still some rotation trying to show up north of Teconcha, but at this time, there isn't any velocity to suggest that, or any wind speed concern to suggest that. Tornado warning does continue for Calhoun County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Burlington. So this is the area that they're continuing to watch and keep the tornado warning for. I imagine some parts of Calhoun County are about to be trimmed out of that. This is radar, not even radar indicated. This is a potential tornadic situation. So we no longer have the confirmed tornado on the ground. And it's likely for this storm right in here.
Oh gosh, hey.
Yeah.
Just looking again.
It's stronger again. It tends to keep going back and forth with each scan that we get, but that rotation tracker and the hail tracker have both picked up within the last couple of scans, indicating at bare minimum there's probably hail coming along with this.
Or some
strong winds.
Strong winds flowing in.
Do we have a speed?
No, not yet. This
Here, 35 when I last did it. It was 35 when I last did it, unless it's picked up.
Okay. So if we're tracking 35, a lot of lightning starting to spark. Again, that's a sign that this storm is continuing to strengthen. Just make sure that I'm accurately, 35. Texas Corners, right around 7:12 or so.
Sounds right.
Yep.
Which is coming up in 8 minutes for the record. So if you're watching us, this is the time to head to that safe space just to be sure. It's the lowest level of your home. Again, just to be on the safe side.
Yes, 7:22.
And you may be asking, why are you talking about this when we don't have any warnings on it? We're just using the tools that we have, and it is indicating that although it doesn't appear to be any immediate tornado threat, the storm is rotating, and given what we've seen over the last few hours, the environment is clearly conducive to produce tornadoes, and so we have to treat every storm with even the potential to rotate seriously.
And this is, I mean, just zoomed in on the track, and I highlighted where we've seen a damage report already, Oakland Drive and Center. The track really does take it almost directly over the same spots. A lot of emergency crews, especially at the FedEx building over the airport. Possible FedEx building collapse. I'm hearing from friends and family that are on site. Again, we are going to continue to work to verify everything that we're hearing. We never want to spread rumors, but the pictures that we're seeing of the FedEx building absolutely confirms.
A new severe thunderstorm, yeah.
Is it for that cell in Van Buren into Kalamazoo?
That's for Kalamazoo and Van Buren, you're correct. Yep. So what we just got in is a new severe thunderstorm warning, so not a tornado warning. You'll notice that popping up there. That is for that cell that we've been tracking for just barely Van Buren County as well as southern Kalamazoo County. So that's a positive indication that they're not confident that that rotation is low level enough to potentially produce a tornado, but based on what we're seeing as far as hail and damaging wind gusts, absolutely that is a strong cell tracking that direction. So I keep getting all of these photos from Portage and Kalamazoo County, which is great to know. But again, when you have a severe thunderstorm coming in, you need to be back in a shelter at this point. Damaging winds oftentimes cause similar damage to tornadoes on the ground and should not be counted out with this cell. So get to that safe space. Again, hunker down. It's moving at about 35 miles per hour and is continuing to track east-northeast, a little bit more of an easterly trend than initially some of the cells we saw tonight. So that's a severe thunderstorm warning. That is in effect until, let's take a look. It's up to 40 miles per hour moving if you're drawing a track, Ellen. That stays in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. It's tagged for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, and we've seen more than 1-inch hail tonight, so be prepared. That could easily get upgraded as well.
This is headed right for Texas Corners. And what we're watching for with this, even though it's not tagged for a tornado yet, is to see if there is a little bowing in the line back here indicating inflow. As we mentioned earlier, some of the surface wind is no longer coming in from the southeast. Earlier this evening, the surface wind was coming in from this direction, and then the wind aloft was coming from this direction, which easily helped to induce a little bit more of that tornadic circulation. So the fact that the wind is playing a little bit better at the surface coming in at this direction means that we're more likely to see wind damage out of this cell, but a tornado cannot be ruled out. And I'm sorry, Sarah, you said speed?
40.
40. Let's track this into Texas Corners, 713 on the south side. Angling Road Drive, sound familiar? Right near 131, that's 716. Headed into Portage, around 720. Here's what's concerning to me, the fact that we have so many folks that are probably outside looking at the trees in their yard, looking at some of the damage in the Portage region. Definitely pay attention. This is a fresh severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to be moving in very quickly, and it could produce hail along with 60-mile-per-hour winds, potentially exacerbating some of the damage that's already occurred in some buildings, and especially the FedEx building by the airport. Now, luckily hearing that as of now, no injuries or fatalities with the potential FedEx building collapse. That's phenomenal news. But if we have this system coming in right on its heels, emergency crews are going to need to be aware. So if you live in Mattawan, Portage, Texas Corners, please take this second cell seriously and wait for it to pass. It's a fast mover. This one should be out of the Portage area by 7:30. So you don't have to wait long, but I'm hoping that crews are seeing that this is a fresh warning, even though I'm sure they're focused in on the damage right in front of their eyes. Kalamazoo, Parchment, Ashimo, rain, no hail. Marshall, still seeing a pretty intense storm over you. And even though you were under a tornado warning, velocity data is showing really weak returns, which is excellent news. So please continue to take this seriously, because you never want to discount an active warning. But what we're seeing right now is looking less intense, less likely of producing widespread damage. Looks like on the north side of Jackson as we head further to the east, potentially hail there. Just a quick scan of a few more storms in the area. The only other one that I'm seeing currently is not the one in Ottawa or Kent counties, but the one that's headed through Fremont. This would be probably a hail producer, wind producer. North side of Fremont, we're seeing a little hail bullseye. Sampling it for you here. just showing that hail is possible. Earlier today, we've seen hailstones ranging from a quarter in size, as in the coin, to softball size in Union City. So this is a really potent setup here. Happy to see that the showers and storms are playing nice for most of our viewing area, but my gosh, that severe thunderstorm warning in Portage just continues to gain steam.
If we can take the Kalamazoo camera, should start to see some heavy rain falling there pretty shortly. If not already. The main part of the storm, yeah, you could just kind of see the gray skies. There's some lightning associated with this storm as well. The core of this storm is now going to be tracking to the south of Kalamazoo, more so, as Ellen's been mentioning, in the city of Portage, south of I-94.
Sorry, just getting some conflicting reports of the FedEx building, and that's why we just send our crews actually down there to get the real story. We don't want to leap to conclusions.
A lot of stuff showing up on social media would be my guess. We're already seeing some evidence of that, so what we're working to do is fact-checking that, seeing which reports are legitimate. And that's where our news crews are heading right now.
One of our reporters, David, is talking about there is damage to a home that he reported a few moments ago. He sent us a few homes, roofs blown off in Portage, especially near the Portage West School District. No injuries that he knows of at this time. The only injury I've seen come in is the one you mentioned, Blake, of the woman who dealt with wind damage as she was getting out of her car. So hopefully that's where it ends.
Thank you, Sarah. Super helpful.
Just if we can take the Calhoun County, or excuse me, graphics too. We do have a tornado warning that remains in effect for Calhoun County at this time. Really the only area of rotation that looks to be worth watching is down here near Teconcha. And I'm going to flip over to our northern Indiana radar. Still looks like there is some rotation there. That's why the tornado warning remains in effect. And over the last 15 minutes, we put this into motion. You can see it basically tracking due east, so right along the far southern edge of Calhoun County, about to pass into Jackson County. And there is still a rotation signature there, passing on the south side of Homer, which may have had a hit from a tornado just an hour or two ago. So this is south of M60. This is moving through Bentley's Corners. Area of rotation still there, but we're not seeing any major signs of debris, which is encouraging news, especially compared to what we've seen through this evening. Still treat this like a serious situation, be in your tornado safe spot if you are not already in southern Calhoun County, southeastern Calhoun County.
I know we had pictures and video earlier from St. Joseph County of what the tornado may have looked like. I don't know if our staff in the booth have those easily on hand to pull up. If not, we know that you're busy also sorting through data, sorting through pictures. Sara Flynn just stumbling across even more damage. This looks like a video that's coming in from the Portage area.
We'll let you guys take over. What's happening over there?
These images in as well. This is from Portage, and this is a video that a viewer has sent in to us to show us some of the damage in that area. You can see that the severity of that tornado that touched down just sort of swept through that area. Power is out to about 25,000 people because of these storms. You can see some of the signage is down. Light pole, it looks like, has been snapped right at the base right there. You've got some people taking a look at the damage right now after everything has gone through, which looks very calm there right now. But look at how powerful those storms were when they did rip through that area and then tear off the siding and some of the roofs in that area as well.
This is significant. We're getting these images in. This is, again, in Portage. We're also getting reports of damage at the Main Street pub. Scott's across the street from the Main Street pub. Scott's, incidentally, owned by NASCAR driver Carson Hocevar's father. They're saying, though, that stores can be rebuilt. Not very good situation down there, but again, we're not hearing a lot of reports, if any, of any injuries.
No.
And that's the encouraging thing, that they heeded the warning that Storm Team 8 was sending us out as they were tracking these storms. As they were approaching these communities, warning people to take cover. It appears that those warnings were heeded. But again, Sue, the damage, quite significant in Portage.
And look at that tornado. Look at the video and the pictures of what our viewers have sent in showing you the strength of this storm. And this, I mean, how often have we ever seen hail in our area the size of an apple, for heaven's sake? So it's just one of these situations where these two tornadoes that ripped through the southern part of our viewing area here has absolutely made such a severe impact on some of the businesses and homes in the area, trees down, trees on houses. We will continue to follow whatever is happening throughout the area, but it's just so recent that we have to make sure that people are still taking cover and being safe as these storms do move through.
Look at the light poles just ripped at their base. Again, bringing you up to speed on a breaking weather situation in West Michigan tonight. Two different communities in the southern tier of our viewing area dealing with a direct hit of two tornadoes that were on the ground, Portage and in Centerville. Reports of up to 22,000 people in those areas without power. We don't have completely updated numbers, but the numbers in Portage and Centerville were significant. Again, hearing all sorts of damage reports from businesses, buildings, homes, a campground, maybe even a mobile home park. We are working diligently to get these reports confirmed. We do have two crews in that region, and we are awaiting their reports from on the ground.
We are watching a couple of other storms throughout West Michigan as well, just to make sure that they don't become severe. So there isn't any damage reported in any other locations that we know of at this time. Let's turn it back over to Storm Team 8 that continues to track these various cells throughout West Michigan.
Thank you. Great news. For the first time in 2.5 hours, we have no active tornado warnings. The tornado warning has been dropped for Calhoun County. Catch our breath a little bit. We do still have a few severe thunderstorms rolling through, but no active tornado warning. So as we take you to radar, let's do a quick overview of what we have ongoing at this time on graphics 2. We have a non-severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for central Newaygo County, and then I'll step out of the way. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for east central Kalamazoo County and for southeastern Calhoun County. A storm is rolling through the part of Portage that was hit by the tornado just about an hour or two ago. So here's a closer view. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Kalamazoo until 8 o'clock. This is why north side of Portage about to take a hit from a severe thunderstorm. We continue to watch the possible rotation with this. Nothing that suggests that tornado's imminent, just a strong thunderstorm with lots of lightning and heavy rain, which of course is likely going to hamper recovery efforts that are ongoing there. We still continue to track this storm as it moves. I believe it's tagged moving east at 40 miles per hour. So thank you, Sarah. So east at 40 miles per hour. The main part of this storm will be moving over toward climax here in about 20 minutes or so, and then eventually the heavy rain part will be heading towards Springfield, Battle Creek shortly before 7:50. Again, no tornado warning with this storm at this time. We're also seeing a heavy shower that bears watching near Sparta, but no lightning with it, so that's not a concern, and just a few leftover showers. The activity that was rolling through Ottawa County has really fallen apart over the last hour or so. And then we have the severe thunderstorm warning that does remain in effect for the southeastern half of Calhoun County. This is warned for winds up to 70 miles per hour. And if we flip over to the Indiana radar, there are still indications that there may be some strong winds that continue to be produced by that thunderstorm. Hang on a second. We are getting a report of a possible tornado on the ground in Portage right now. I just got that from the Weather Service, so stand by. Spotter confirms tornado on the ground in Portage.
That's where we were seeing rotation, but the latest scans are just not nearly as strong as they were. So we'll continue to see if we get another update with that.
Yeah, to be honest with you,
I don't see it either.
I'm not seeing it either. Do we know if this is a delayed report?
That's what I'm checking right now.
Check on that.
That is
Scary situation there.
obviously that is quite a concerning situation. I mean, it has the structure to potentially produce some.
There it goes. There it goes.
Yeah, we have a new tornado warning now for Kalamazoo.
And that goes until 8:15. That is for Kalamazoo County only, Blake.
And it's already confirmed by debris or by
Yeah,
spotter.
new tornado warning in effect. This is for central Kalamazoo County. This is just moving through Portage. Portage has now received 2 tornado hits in the same day within 2 hours of one another, and this tornado is now tracking just south of I-94. It's going to be hard to detect it on radar, but if there is a tornado, it's almost certainly going to be right in here on the northeast side. The storm looks to be tracking east, and I'm awaiting the speed on this. We're waiting for the warning data to officially come in.
This would be Romans Road Parkway, South Sprinkle Road, East O Avenue, East P Avenue, East Kilgore Road as it intersects with Portage. This is just slightly further to the north than the first tornado that touched down.
We got to get a hold of our crews in Portage that there's a tornado on the ground on the north side.
Please get inside.
Can we please get phone calls out to them?
Yep. If it's going to be anywhere, again, it's so hard to tell by radar, but it's almost certainly right in here, right in this part. That's likely where a tornado is ongoing. Again, we do have confirmation that this is on the ground. We're waiting to see what direction it's moving in. And this is a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Portage, moving east at 30 miles per hour.
Yeah,
So
struggling to know exactly where it is. Not seeing any debris either if you switch over to correlation, but again, it's somewhere in there.
No major signature at this time, but again, I checked with the Weather Service. I said, are you sure this is not a delayed report? They said, we received several calls of a new tornado on the ground, almost right over the north side of Portage. And again, this is moving east.
East at 30 will be near Galesburg and climax around 7:30, and then Battle Creek around 7:35.
This is an extraordinarily dangerous situation for the folks who are still recovering from the tornado hit.
Yes. Sorry.
This is a new tornado warning. If you're just tuning in now, you need to be getting inside into that safe space. It is confirmed.
Headed over I-94, headed towards Collins Center, likely just on the north side of Collins Center, likely on the north side of Ramona Park. This would be rolling in towards where I-94 and M94 connect. Headed up towards Comstock, East Comstock, Lawndale, and Galesburg. This is moving at 30 miles per hour, so again, some arrival times for you. Around 7:30 for Battle Creek. 7:35 for Battle Creek. But still, if you're in Battle Creek, you want to get into your safe space now. To repeat, a large, extremely dangerous, and potentially deadly tornado is on the ground, according to the National Weather Service with this fresh warning. You're seeing that the tornado warning is colored purple, which means it has been observed either by the radar or by a human. In this case, the National Weather Service saying they're getting several reports, as Blake mentioned, of a tornado on the ground.
I think if it's going to be anywhere, it's right in here. We're looking at the northern Indiana radar, and this is the area that shows the most rotation.
Yep.
I think if it's on the ground, it's going to be there just north of Collins Corner.
29th
Avenue
Street.
and 29th Street,
Yep.
tracking almost due east toward the city of Climax.
It is popping on the shear rate right now, so that's helpful at this point. Headed on the north side of Cook's Mill. East N Avenue, take cover now. South 32nd Street, take cover now. Headed towards Climax. Headed on the south side of Comstock and Lawndale. Headed on the south side of Galesburg. Tracking at about 30 miles per hour. Right now due east, but it could jot and shift a bit to the northeast. Arrival time Climax potentially 7:37 with where we see the velocity tracker kind of picking up on that circulation.
If it's going to be anywhere, it's right. Both radars are indicating that this is the center of circulation right here, just to the north of Collins Corner, Pavilion Center, just to the west of Cook's Mill. Again, right around 29th and O, tracking
like
almost due east.
I'm so sorry. It looks like our crews are aware. We do have several crews in Portage. They are taking cover. We urge people that are watching at home in the Portage area to do the same. Looks like the city of Portage Might be in the clear around the previous damage zone, Shaver Road, East Center Avenue. Still some intense rain, likely north on East Sprinkle Road, rolling over Cork Streets, just on the north side of Portage, heading into the south side of Kalamazoo. Wynn Road, East ML Avenue, maybe even some small hail there. But really, it's the Collins Corner area that we need to watch very carefully.
Keep in mind, moving east, but just south of I-94 right now. I did pull up some of our traffic cameras. A lot of cars still out there despite the weather. So again, if you know someone driving on that road, would be a good time to call them and tell them to get to a shelter. This thing very well could take a little bit of a curvature. Expected to pass south of Galesburg and just south of I-94 right now, but we've seen a lot of changes tonight already.
All right, so we have a confirmed tornado on the ground. We need to keep radar up on the screen, but we understand that we have a reporter on location. Let's toss it over to Brian and Sue.
Okay. Blake and Ellen, thank you for that.
Megan Bunchman is in Portage right now with the very latest as we continue to track this the tornado that has touched down, a second one in Portage. Megan, what are you seeing?
Brian and Sue, good evening. Right now, we are right across the street from the Air Zoo, where we're going to a report of a caved-in roof. No actual confirmation right now in a FedEx building, but that's where we are headed to. We are on Portage Road as we speak, and as we are getting off the West Nidge Avenue exit just about 5 minutes ago, that's when heavy rain started to take place and hail. I actually did upload some of that video that we used from our car. If you guys want to pull that up at some points via Latitude, you can. But we definitely saw some strong hail about the size of, I would say, a small pellet, maybe less than a dime size, but it was heavy. And then, of course, our phones, just like so many other people's EMS emergency management services, were going nuts, telling us that there was a secondary tornado on the ground. Now, what I believe is that tornado is a little bit further away from us at this time, but it is quite dangerous because people are just recovering from that first round of storms. And, of course, it's soon to get dark out. That, coupled with sometimes visibility issues due to the darkness, as well as that heavy rain and debris on the ground, this is not an easy situation to navigate through, and it is very dangerous. So we want to make sure that if you are in a safe area, you stay home tonight. You do not get out. There has been power loss at multiple streetlights that we've gone through at this time, and we are basically traveling at a snail's pace as people are working through these debris, like layered storm roads at this time. Again, we are in Portage right now. I believe that secondary tornado is just outside of our direct area, but we will continue to bring you updates. Remember, though, again, that down power lines are definitely a possibility. So as the night goes on, you really want to be careful. We see some people out running right now, which, you know, good for them for getting their exercise, but perhaps not the night to do it. So I'm going to send it back to you guys.
All right, Megan Bunchman on the road in Portage tonight. We saw some of the first images from that FedEx facility that was hit by this tornado earlier today. If we can go back to those pictures, the damage at that facility, here we go.
Yeah.
Quite significant. Trucks strewn about, and you can see the quick shot of the building, and the entire front facade of that building has been ripped away. This was a relatively brand new facility. They just opened this facility up in Portage 2 years ago this month.
Okay.
It was a state-of-the-art facility at the time. It employed over 400 people, but the early indications are that all of those employees are accounted for.
We have not heard any numbers of any injuries at this point. We will certainly pass that along as we get that information. But Megan raises a very good point that, you know, as it continues to get dark and night falls, you know, there are down power lines there, and people that are coming out after getting hit with a second tornado in Portage need to really be careful. It's important to let the crews do their work and make sure that they can secure the area so that it's safe to go back out there. A lot of debris in the roads. Megan telling us what it's like as far as what she's seeing with it's complete disarray. And now that area in Portage dealing with that second tornado. So certainly a scary situation there. The main theme here, be safe, as crews need to get out there and start doing the work. And to basically make sure that the surroundings are okay for everyone to be out and about. But it's going to take a little while. Like I said, a second tornado through that area in Portage. We are going to continue to stay in touch with our crews that are canvassing the area. You saw the damage at the FedEx building as well as this restaurant nearby. So a lot of these pictures are coming in from the Portage area. We know that Centerville was also hit by a tornado, and early reports were that a steeple was blown off of a church there, as well as damage to Yoder's Country Market. So that's in Centerville, and these are the images that are coming to you from Portage right now, and it's 25,000 people without power is the latest number that I've heard so far.
Easily. I'm looking at some other video, Sue, that has come in from some Wood TV staffers. We haven't had any opportunity yet to turn this around and get it on television, but we're getting some landmarks as far as where the locations are. Shearing Road and Quail Road, which is nearby some of the businesses that we've been seeing in the video. I'm looking at the video that this just came in, and this is flattened. This is an area that everything appears to be just pancaked down.
Wow.
So this was a significant weather event that came through Portage. Not one, but two. They got two tornadoes in that community today.
We are still watching that, actually. We want to give you an update on the tornado that's warned that's rolling through Galesburg and Climax. It does look like, guys, we might see some fresh outages, power outages along the path of that tornado headed towards Portage Lake, South 44th Street, and into Climax itself. Again, this one is a little bit more difficult to see with our classic radar tools. We're not seeing the telltale hook as much, but we are occasionally seeing some indications of the velocity on our velocity data. So here is where the tornado might be. One of the reasons why we're taking this so seriously, even though the radar products aren't looking that impressive, is because we have spotters that have confirmed that there is a tornado on the ground, and the National Weather Service verifying that and passing it along. So East ML Avenue, East L Avenue, East Michigan Avenue, and this is basically I-94. You need to get into your safe spot south side of Galesburg and rolling on the north side of Climax. This is lifting east and occasionally tracking northeast. I would put it right over Mercury Drive, right over Watkins Road. We're getting a better indication again of where we're seeing the rotation. This is the latest scan of the radar. Maple Grove, Hickory Ridge, right off of East L Avenue. You all need to be getting inside and away from windows. Tornado on the ground. And I haven't checked correlation coefficient. It's a little rough to see.
The latest scan is significantly weaker than it was, so we have that going for us. As far as the initial confirmation of this tornado on the ground, we don't have that anymore. Still waiting for some updates from some spotters down there. So hopefully that's some good news. Hopefully it was a brief touchdown, and that's it. We do have that extended severe thunderstorm warning now in Calhoun County, so that's hopefully a good indication that this is weakening, and instead we'll go back to just being a severe thunderstorm warning.
So good news, Portage has officially been dropped from the tornado warning. The storm is east of there now. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect, and I hate to even say this, but we have another thunderstorm, or at least heavy shower, developing near Matawan that will likely be tracking very close to Portage again. No severe threat with that, but still some more rain showers continue to develop and roll through the Portage area as recovery is ongoing. So where we have this area of rotation that is a confirmed tornado as of a few minutes ago, and you can still see the pretty pronounced rotation right in here between Galesburg and Climax, just south of I-94, that is tracking to the northeast. If we continue to look at our rotation rate, it shows it just to the northwest of Climax, East MN Avenue, East Allo Avenue, South 44th Street is where this is heading next, just about to cross over into Calhoun County, where, as Sarah mentioned, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been reissued because of this storm that is rolling in. No tornado warning in Calhoun at this time. But as of a few minutes ago, we had confirmation from several spotters of a tornado in progress near Portage, just to the east of Portage, and now we're continuing to track the storm as it actually looks like it's going to pass pretty close to Battle Creek once again.
I was going to say that tornado warning, confirmed tornado still, goes until 8:15, but I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, Blake. It seems like it's going to move a little bit faster. The rotation that I'm seeing just north of Climax right now, yep.
Yeah.
And as that continues to track into Calhoun County, it is just a severe thunderstorm warning. So if they're going to extend it, they're going to do it here shortly as it crosses county lines. Otherwise, we may once again be free of tornado warnings in effect.
This is almost right over I-94 right now, that area of rotation. I-94, trying to find the nearest exit. Looks like Columbia Avenue would be the nearest exit, Mercury Drive.
Tornado warning is coming for Calhoun County.
Okay, we have
We did have a spotter confirm the touchdown near Galesburg about 4 to 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
And so I think it is still on the ground. We are going to get an extension, so Calhoun County, you're going to hear those sirens here shortly.
If you're in Battle Creek, if you're along I-94, if you're on the south side of Battle Creek along M66, you should be preparing to head to your tornado safe spot as this tornado in progress is about to cross county lines from Kalamazoo into Calhoun. We have a secondary tornado passing almost the exact same path that the first tornadic storm had.
That one goes until 8:30. It just got extended. It'll pop up in our graphics in a minute.
Thank you, Sarah. 8:30. New tornado warning in effect now for Calhoun County for a confirmed tornado that is on the ground once again.
Northeast at 45 as well, so it is heading directly towards Battle Creek.
Northeast
And
at
faster.
45. All right, so here are some towns on the path. Springfield here coming up at 7:43 in about 7 minutes or so. Battle Creek just after 7:45. Marshall, if it continues, just after 8 o'clock. If you are in the north side of Calhoun County, you need to be heading to a tornado safe spot now. And this is also what they're calling a particularly dangerous situation. So this is a life-threatening situation, a large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Climax. And as Sarah mentioned, moving northeast at 45.
It is moving faster than it was before, which I think is important to note. All the other cells we've been tracking have been between about that 30 to 40 mile per hour mark. So Battle Creek, you need to be getting in that safe space along I-94. That's essentially where the rotation is right now. It almost looks like it's going to follow Columbia Avenue, Skyline Drive, Clark Road potentially could be in that rotation, headed towards not only Battle Creek, eventually could be towards the Springfield area. What else is around? Urbandale, potentially. So again, you're going to hear those sirens, and this is legit. This is a tornado confirmed on the ground. We have spotters saying that this is yet another tornado, and we are seeing a little bit of rotation. It's a tough place for rotation. We talk about what you're looking at right now, our wind tracker. It is in between radar sites, and that's a lot of times where we don't get that clean-cut signature like we did earlier on or even in previous events. So take it seriously. We have spotters. This isn't a normal cell or a storm that we would initially think could produce a tornado, but that is still confirmed on the ground right now. And again, that damage threat is considerable. We don't see those very often in Michigan.
Yeah, this is going to be passing very close to the Battle Creek Executive Airport.
Yes.
Very closely. It looks like we may have a tornado debris signature beginning to develop here. Let's see if we can look. It's hard to tell.
It is.
We're hearing that from the Weather Service. I mean, that lines up fairly well with the area of rotation. If you're in Battle Creek, you need to treat this as a large and dangerous tornado on the ground. Lakeview, Springfield, Battle Creek, Sunrise Heights, right along I-94 right now. This is near Business 94 and I-94. That is where the core of this rotation is over right now. And this is, once again, a very serious situation that is tracking into Battle Creek over the next several minutes. So here's a look at radar. We see the classic hook shape on this once again. Rotation right along the Kalamazoo-Calhoun County line. And now we have a potential debris signature that is developing just right near the intersection of I-94 and Business 94. That is going to be tracking right into Battle Creek here. This is, once again, an extraordinarily dangerous situation developing, especially for the south side of Battle Creek.
Blake, and the Barron button is something that we have as well that really shows where that rotation is paired with not necessarily the hail swath. We're not seeing that as much, but the shear rate, the shear swath and the Barron button all kind of align where we're seeing that rotation. So there is something there, even though at first glance you probably just think it's a severe thunderstorm. No reports of debris, no reports of damage on my end, at least at this point. But again, there is a tornado on the ground. This is confirmed. Damage is marked as considerable, in addition to the potential for some hail. So you need to be getting into that safe space as soon as possible.
I've switched over to our northern Indiana radar to try to get a picture of this, and you can see there, I mean, that does line up with the area of debris on the northern Indiana radar. And we're awaiting a new scan from Grand Rapids, which should be coming any moment now. But There are increasing signs that, yeah, we do have a tornado in progress, and as Sarah mentioned, we did have confirmation from a spotter.
Monitoring power outages, I'm not seeing any new ones coming in from that cell yet. That's usually one of the first indications that we watch for some initial damage. But I think with this headed into such a populated area, and with the damage that we've seen in the Portage region as a good example of what might happen in Battle Creek, this is something to take seriously.
We hear that we have Taylor on the phone, but I think at this point we need to stay on this tornado
Yeah.
as it is in progress and tracking toward Battle Creek. We'll get to Taylor as soon as we can, but at this time we have a confirmed tornado on the ground tracking toward Battle Creek, so I think we should probably stay on this at least for the next few minutes as indications continue to show a tornado in progress. Now just crossing the Kalamazoo-Calhoun County line, moving right into Battle Creek.
So Kalamazoo County should be in the clear here shortly, still under that severe thunderstorm watch, but now we're all focused on Calhoun County. If you draw a track on it, it's moving at 45 miles per hour. Not a whole lot of towns are popping up. Battle Creek is obviously the main concern that we have at this point. Springfield should be there in about 3 minutes. Bellevue just after 8 o'clock. And then hopefully by that point it weakens a little bit. But
Brand new,
again, still favorable environment.
Sorry, Sarah. Brand new rotation, or brand new scan from rotation, showing the core of this rotation is just to the south of the Battle Creek Airport. Columbia Avenue West, Skyline Drive, Stone Jug Road. This is tracking into the heart of Battle Creek, into downtown Battle Creek. If you are in the city of Battle Creek, you need to take shelter immediately. There are still indications that this tornado may be on the ground. And we're going to continue to try to use our tools. It looks like there's still a debris ball there. It's still pronounced on the Grand Rapids radar, showing up just south of the airport. And that lines up almost perfectly with the rotation that we have, which would suggest that there's likely a tornado in progress.
Current speed, putting this in Helmer Road south at 743, Capitol Avenue Southwest at 745, G Drive north into Sunrise Heights at 747. This is tracking the debris signature where the tornado is most likely on the ground. This is south of Columbia Avenue West, and it looks like it could be cutting right on the south side of Battle Creek, tracking over Main Street on the south side of Battle Creek at 748, and then headed towards Brownlee Park close to about 750. Not what we want to see. This storm does look like it is producing damage right about here. So folks that are just to the northeast of that debris signature need to take this seriously and need to get inside now. Once again, too, if you live in Old Mill Gardens or due east of this cell, you also want to get into your safe spot, because occasionally we've seen the tornado portion of these cells jog east instead of northeast. And this is a fast mover at about 45 miles per hour. Old Mill Gardens, if this cell were to start moving due east, arrival time for you in about 3 minutes. 746, headed to Beetle Lake and the north side of Beetle Lake at about 750, crossing back over I-94. This would be headed on the south side of Waddles Park at about 753. Monitoring reflectivity, it does show that we have a little bit of the hook feature. Not seeing as much lightning with this cell. This one's a little sneaky because it doesn't look as powerful as the others, but it's still producing a confirmed tornado with damage on the grounds for Calhoun County.
And a good chance there's rain in front of it, the way it's been shaping at least. It might ebb and flow. We may be able to get a good view at this from some of our trained spotters out there. And it looks like we still do have confirmation of that being on the ground. So we'll have to see. Again, it's not a typical cell that we would see, but this is in northeast or northwest Calhoun County right now, tracking towards Battle Creek. That time's running out in about 3 minutes if you're not already seeing that rotation right now.
Such a tricky spot, I-94 corridor, because we're right sandwiched between the Grand Rapids and Northern Indiana radars. And what these radars do is they send beams up into the atmosphere. And so the farther you get away from the direct radar site, the higher above ground you're scanning. And so that's why it's more difficult to detect potential tornadic signatures down here along I-94 in places like Kalamazoo and Battle Creek unless it's incredibly pronounced. And so that's the challenge that we're having now. The best thing that we have when that happens is to use ground truth. And we do have a confirmed tornado, according to spotters, that as of just a few minutes ago. Have a new scan on radar that has the core of this rotation now centered over Helmer Road, just north of I-94, just a few blocks north. So this is tracking through the south side of Battle Creek, Lakeview area, Capitol Avenue, right through Old Mill Gardens.
Weaker than it was before, and there's not necessarily as much debris signature showing up, at least on our radar, so that is good news.
That is good.
Still, though, it's going to be marked as a tornado warning for at least the time being.
Looks like we are now back to weather spotters earlier confirmed tornado just west of Battle Creek near Galesburg from the Weather Service. So we have no new confirmation other than when it was in Galesburg. Still have reason to believe and reason to treat this as if it's a tornado on the ground. And again, this is passing just on the south side of Battle Creek right now. And where those reds and greens come together right here, I'll see if I can enhance the color a little bit. That's where we likely have the tornado in progress.
Yeah, folks in Springfield Place, as Blake was mentioning, the fact that we're using radar imagery to figure out where these storms are, because these storms are so far away from each of the radar sources, you kind of want to give it some wiggle room yourself. So even though these are the pinpointed places that we're seeing on the map, just know that the warning is including a lot of folks for a reason. Springfield Place, Springfield, Lakeview, Grand Rapids, south of Grand Rapids in the Battle Creek area, everyone listed there absolutely needs to get inside, get away from windows. Tornadoes today have lifted roofs. They've also knocked down steady, heavy structures. These are storms that can act fast, and so you want to treat them with respect. You don't even have to wait very long in your safe space. Just head there now. It's not a bad idea sometimes to grab something to cover your head, like a pillow. Sometimes you can even grab a helmet. But Springfield Place, and Battle Creek itself, still within the line of motion here. I'm wondering if this is slowing just a touch.
It's slowing just a touch and doesn't have nearly as strong as rotation as it once did, in addition to the lack of debris. So that is good news. If you're just coming in now, again, we still do have a confirmed tornado warning in effect for Calhoun County as well as portions of Kalamazoo County. Not necessarily seeing as strong of rotation as we once did in those vicinities, but still strong storms nonetheless. A little bit of an uptick, Blake, if you can see.
I think this is the radar trying to potentially play tricks on us, because if we look at, this is all happening outside of where the actual storm is. And what we'd want to see, or not want to see, what we would look for a confirmed tornado would be if it actually lined up with the storm. What we're seeing is that it's displaced, and that tells me that what looks like a really scary debris ball here may not actually be what's taking place.
I would agree, yeah.
Still, we have to treat this as a tornado on the ground. It's moving right just south of downtown Battle Creek, the area of rotation now. Sunrise Heights neighborhood, G Drive North, 6.5 mile road, Beetle Lake Road, just north of I-94. I mean, just barely north of I-94, less than a mile, heading toward Waddles Park, Michigan Avenue, Brownlee Park, over eventually toward H Drive, and 11 Mile.
And that's the only tornado warning in effect. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Kalamazoo County. It's mainly because it's on the eastern edge there following it. But there is no sign of rotation with that cell in that direction. Really, just the Battle Creek area is the one we're closely watching at this point.
I think right now, seeing that this cell that's rolling over Battle Creek has not produced any fresh outages, and hopefully everyone involved is in their safe spot. This might be a good time to check in with some of our crews who are out on scene in the Portage region. We are getting more information coming into the newsroom, more details about damage to buildings. Brian, Sue, what are you hearing?
Ellen, continuing our coverage of this tornado outbreak in southwest Michigan, we want to take you out to that FedEx facility on Portage Road in Portage that took a direct hit from this tornado earlier today. News 8's Megan Bunchman is on scene. Megan, what can you tell us?
Brian and Sue, I talked to a couple of workers who were luckily not inside of the building when the storm hit. They were about 5 minutes out. Now, what they have told me and confirmed is that everyone is accounted for. So that is the good news. There were no injuries in this. But if I step behind me and a photographer can zoom in a bit, you can see significant damage on the roof. I am told line 1 through 3, that's their loading docks, are completely destroyed, I understand. And it's going to be a huge impact for this facility moving forward. I was also told that this was a relatively light worker day, so all of those who were inside of the facility, not as high as what we typically would see for a Tuesday afternoon. Now, if we zoom back out, we're at the FedEx and Stryker building. Both of these buildings have sustained some sort of damage, but take a look at these trees that our photographer, Don, is showing you right now. You can see how these trees have laid out in different directions. That is indicative that this was, in fact, some type of cyclical motion here, or tornado. You can hear Consumers Energy right behind us right now on site, basically working with the wires as it goes on. We have no power at the intersection behind us, and even these huge stumps, I can't even, if I tried to step down into this, I can show you how deep this actual tree was uprooted, easily 4 to 5 feet within the ground. It is intense right now. It is safe at this time, but again, we've been talking about it all afternoon long, that right now it's safe, but when the night comes in and it's harder to see, debris will be really difficult to identify, whether you're in the road or even in the streets. Make sure you're aware of down power lines. Right now, we're not seeing any of that here in this area, but as Ellen, Blake, and the rest of the Storm Team 8 crew has been telling you, these storms just keep popping up. So if you can, stay in place tonight. Stay home, stay safe. Also have some tennis shoes by your side just in case the worst happens. You want to make sure that you have something to put on your feet so you can walk through all this debris. We will bring you more updates as we learn it. But for now, I'm Megan Bunchman, live in Portage. Back to you.
That rotation and the way that the trees are down and all the damage at that FedEx building. Megan, thank you.
Taylor Morris is in Portage for us tonight, and she's got more on the damage there. Taylor? Centerville, I'm sorry. She's in Centerville. Taylor?
A quick walkthrough of some of the damage we're seeing here. And if you're watching and you're familiar with Centerville, just to kind of give you an idea of where we're at, we're right by the Yoder's Country Market. But here you can see a lot of trees have been uprooted. These people from the city right now are already working to help fix the damage. If you zoom in, I'll have my photographer zoom in over there at the building that's completely damaged. We have learned that that was Nottawa Gas, that they have, their roof is completely damaged. And honestly, I'm gonna take you a walk through over here. We think that that roof even blew some parts over here. You can see a lot of insulation along this field here, a lot of metal. Even at one point, there's a piece of metal over the power lines up there also. I don't know if you guys can see that, but lots and lots of damage here. I'm going to take you for a walk over here too. You can see just how strong those winds were. Insulation can be seen all through this entire field as well. So lots of damage here. Again, we are in Centerville right now, and we will be here talking with people and seeing how much damage the area got as we make our way throughout the city.
Debris field too, as she mentioned. It just is so scattered at this point. Of course, Centerville reporting early on as that first tornado came through that area that church sustained some damage. So we'll continue to monitor any developments and damage throughout that area as well.
We have been getting a ton of pictures and videos, images being sent into the newsroom. We want to share some of that with you right now if we can. Let's take a look. Again, a lot of damage spread out, and we were trying to keep count here. 4 different tornadic systems in southwest Michigan today.
That's right.
Again, this is video from earlier. I believe this is in Portage, but you can see the video of the trees here. And as Megan was saying, it's just that hatch demarcation, that pattern that is so indicative of a rotation storm.
And it was interesting to see when Megan did her live shot of just how the trees can be simply uprooted just like that, and deeply. You know, you could see into the earth there how huge trees can just be flattened because of these storms and the severity of them. That FedEx building showing a lot of the damage. These are images also out of Portage, where near that restaurant where it just absolutely shredded these buildings. And as you mentioned, you know, the video that keeps coming into the newsroom at this point. But the latest tornado, the fourth one, as you mentioned, is in the Battle Creek area at this point. We want to go back to Storm Team 8 to let us know how that storm is shaping up right now.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Sue. It's a busy night. We have a tornado warning that remains in effect for Calhoun County until 8:30. This remains as a confirmed tornado. It's right over Battle Creek, but the reason why we haven't been covering it over the last few minutes is because at this point, we don't have the indication that this is on the ground. The rotation looks to be kind of falling apart with this. It was earlier confirmed as it was over near Galesburg, but what's happening now is the storm is becoming really messy. So if we were to see a tornado, tornadoes thrive in environments where there's nothing to the south, so where inflow can come into the storm without any interruption. Now that all of this activity is forming to the south, we believe that's limiting the tornado potential off to the north, and that's pretty clear watching the rotation. In fact, if we turn on a rotation rate here, rotation tracker over the last 15 minutes, we really don't see a whole lot there that would indicate a potential tornado on the ground. We've been trying to use debris tracker, and at this time we don't have any tornado debris signature, and the velocity's kind of been falling apart as well.
And just a quick recap, we are going to be continuing to watch all of these cells that form and track through Michigan through at least 11 o'clock tonight. 11 o'clock is when we have our tornado watch valid through. And remember, that watch was issued earlier today for the potential of a few tornadoes and large hail. We've seen confirmation for both of those things. The tornado watch issued for Ottawa County, Kent to Ionia, down south through Allegan, Barrie, Van Buren, Kalamazoo, and then even further to the south into northern Indiana. Do want to pass along a few notes that we're hearing from emergency crews, especially in the Portage area. They're saying, please stay off the roads. Right now, emergency crews are stuck in gridlock trying to get to where they need to go to help people to assess the damage, and they're stuck in traffic. So we understand that sometimes there's this desire to go out and to look and to see. Maybe just take a beat, let the people that need to get on scene get there, and enjoy the scene that you're seeing in places like Kalamazoo. I mean, my goodness, that camera there, I think, had a rainbow in the picture. This is Storm Track Live, and you can see that we still have the purple warning indicated an observed tornado, but there is the chance that that could be expired early. We did have a confirmed tornado earlier in Portage. In fact, Sara Flynn on Weather Graphics 3 has a video of that tornado rolling through the Portage area. If you guys are able to in the booth to pop up Weather Graphics 3, we will have that. It's a verified video for you, but this is no joke. Union City had a tornado emergency issued earlier today, and that tornado emergency was the first to ever be issued in Michigan. We have never had a tornado emergency issued in Michigan. Now, granted, we've had some powerful tornadoes, and we had the tornado in Gaylord, but this was the first that was on the ground long enough for that to be issued. All right, here's the video coming to you. This is from Savannah. Savannah in the Portage area. You can see at first it doesn't really look like much, but if you focus down close to the surface, you can start to see the rotation in the cloud deck. And this is right near where the updraft meets the downdraft, exactly where we expect the tornado to form. This is one view of the storm as it swept into Portage. And you really do have to look carefully. Now, I gotta admit, I got mixed feelings about this because I'm grateful for the video, but I also am hopeful that most people headed inside and went downstairs when they saw this system approach, especially after seeing some of the damage that's coming forward in the Portage region, Oakland Center, over towards the FedEx building. Want to switch back over to Weather Graphics 1, give you an overview of the radar. Again, tornado watch valid until 11 o'clock. We might see an early expiration of this, especially since the wind field at the surface is starting to change. Usually for tornadoes to form, you need winds at the surface to be coming in out of the south-southeast, and then winds aloft coming in out of the southwest. We're starting to see that change. That might help to weaken things. We do have a lot of pop-up downpours, but only one warning still ongoing for Calhoun County. As Sarah mentioned, this might be expired early. Marshals still take cover along with Marengo, Eckford, Homer, headed over towards Springport, just outside of the actual warning. And Portage, I'm sure you don't want this, but there's another downpour that's tracking through now. Luckily, we're not seeing much lightning with that particular cell.
We're hearing that we have Amanda and a crew out at damage in Portage. So we're going to toss it over to you, Brian and Sue.
Okay, Blake, thank you. Yeah, Amanda Porter is standing by live at a mobile home park northeast of Portage.
Pavilion Estates.
Yeah, okay. Amanda.
Yeah, guys, we're live outside of Pavilion Estates, and I'm going to tell you what the situation is right now. People are blocked from entering Pavilion Estates just like we are, so we're actually at the Sunoco gas station on the corner. People are actually walking into the mobile home area right now through this field that they're walking through right now. So you see lines of people walking in, carrying dogs. People are biking into the mobile home area because they're not able to drive into the mobile home area. Right now, the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety is on scene, and multiple EMS agencies and other fire crew departments are on scene. Earlier, we did talk with a fire crew member. He wasn't able to tell us exactly what the situation was inside of Pavilion Estates. But again, we did see at least 3 ambulances leaving the area. Most of the people, if we wanted to pan the camera over this way, are at the gas station right here. Many people are just trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. Everyone's kind of just parked and trying to take account of people and their property. On the way here, there was many power lines down. We saw many traffic lights out. And then when we pulled up here, we saw lots of people at the Sunoco gas station. So this is what the situation is outside of Pavilion Estates here in Portage. We do see the Richland Fire Department on scene. So again, people are just trying to account for what's happening. But I'm going to toss it back to you guys in the studio. For now, I'm live in Portage. Amanda Porter, News 8.
Goodness.
People just trying to assess what's going on, really.
Your heart breaks for those folks because some of the damage reports coming out of that Pavilion Estates, it sounds like it's quite significant. Again, City of Portage asking people, stay off the roads.
Right.
They can't get through the traffic right now. Their first responders are stuck in gridlock.
Yeah, we want to send it back over to Storm Team 8 right now. What's the latest, guys?
Thank you, Sue and Brian. Yeah, great news. Tornado warning has been canceled for Calhoun County. So we were watching the area rotation as it passed over Battle Creek, and it now looks like that cell, the rotation is weakened enough for them to drop the tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Battle Creek until 9 p.m. Primary concern looks to be just some strong winds and hail. So that is the only warning we have active in West Michigan at this time. This is the quietest our radar has been since about 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Yes. Looking at our rotation tracker, this is a really great tool that we might begin using now as we switch gears into damage assessment mode. So looking at where we've seen these tracks cut across Kalamazoo County, St. Joseph County, you can clearly see how the tornado-warned storm started to get its legs in Decatur, moved over Lawton, just south of Mattawan, and then cut right through Portage. Texas Corners, I wouldn't be surprised if you had some damage, although we haven't been seeing more than just outages in that region quite yet. South of Oakwood into the south side of Millwood. This is mainly a South Portage event with the damage. Now, I said it once, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Emergency crews have asked if you do not need to be on the roads to politely just stay home. We've got a lot of crews that need to get to work to make sure that power lines are repaired. It's always heartbreaking when we hear of fatalities after the storm due to power lines. That is a thing that we have seen in Michigan. So please be careful. Watching the rotation tracks, this did continue into Galesburg. We have a reporter on scene headed to Galesburg as we speak. Not seeing any outages on our Consumers Energy Map in Galesburg yet. So doubtful that we're going to see as intense of damage, but with the rotation track being as it is, it's absolutely worth checking. And then of course, looking at this cell that moved on the north side of Colon into Leonidas, over towards Union City. You can see how strong the rotation was as it tracked over that area. And that tornado warning again, gaining the distinction of potentially the first tornado warning to ever get the tornado emergency tag by the local National Weather Service office because it was doing damage headed towards the city and on the ground long enough to get that severe tag. So as our crews head out to verify information, which is so needed in times like this, we'll continue to watch the radar since we have our active cells that are still popping but not severe, and since we have our tornado watch that's going to be in effect until 11 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, we're just continuing to watch the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for Calhoun County. Here's video. The Portage area by far, at least as of now, we are receiving some reports from Centerville of some structural damage there that we're working to confirm, but the most widespread significant damage appears to be in the Portage area, a heavy populated part of Kalamazoo County, including at the FedEx building, which we heard from Megan earlier. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for Calhoun County until 9 p.m. At this point, tornadic threat appears to be diminishing. We do still have potentially some strong winds with this storm as it tracks to the east. Thankfully, though, at this time, don't see any immediate indication of significant weather threat, whether it be in the form of damaging winds or tornadoes or even large hail. That threat seems to be diminishing as well.
And my goodness, we've seen enough just cycling through some of these early assessments of damage pictures. You can see that even secure structures sustained some pretty heavy damage from tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes on the ground. Now, Brian and Sue, I know you're going to be checking in for us with some of the crews on the ground, getting an update, and then I'm sure we're going to regroup before we come back for the news at 10 and 11. Who do we have on scene now, and what are they seeing?
Ellen and Blake, thank you. Yep, we will continue to stay on top of this developing weather story. Obviously, significant damage in southwest Michigan tonight. Again, looking at some of those images, heartbreaking images tonight from the Pavilion Estates mobile home park. This is northeast of Portage, where the residents there are moving their belongings, their family members. You see small children having to walk through a field to the safety of a nearby gas station after this mobile home park took a direct hit. We were told that there were some ambulances seen unseen. Okay.
We continue to see people that are trying to assess the damage, if any, to those mobile home parks. Taylor Morris is standing by right now. Taylor, what's the latest there?
Yeah, we're in Centerville right now, and I'm with the St. Joseph County Undersheriff. What can you tell us about the damage that you guys are seeing on ground right now?
Well, we can confirm that several buildings have been damaged, both residential and commercial buildings. As you can see right here in this immediate area, we have a building that's been pretty much totaled.
And in terms of just this building in particular, I know a lot of the roof and the insulation has traveled. What building is this for people who aren't familiar, and what's kind of the update on it, if you have any?
Well, this is an Ottawa gas company. They just moved back here within the year or so, and they sustained some pretty heavy damage on all their buildings back here. So we'll have to wait and see what the overall damage is, but they've got extensive damage.
Is this the worst area of town that you've seen so far, or are there other parts of town that have also taken a pretty big hit?
It's from this direction to our north and our east. There's extensive damage from here all the way through Cole and Leonidas. Those areas.
When the storm first arrived, were you on scene? I mean, can you tell me a little bit about what you saw, if you saw anything?
Well, when the storm came, it was pretty chaotic with everything that was happening. Obviously, it moved through here quickly, but it created a lot of damage in its path.
Was it loud?
It was loud, yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of just any injuries or fatalities, do you guys have any insight on that so far?
At this point, we don't have reports of any fatalities or serious injuries, but at this moment, we are doing all life-saving missions we can just to make sure that people are safe and secure. And obviously, there's a large area that's damaged, so it's going to take us a little bit of time to get those assessments, and then we'll shift into damage assessment on properties and buildings and things like that.
One more question for people who are in the area, and especially now that the storm, at least for now in this area, has passed, when it comes to just checking the damage in your property, and if people are traveling around town, do you just have any safety reminders for people out on the streets?
Well, certainly power lines down are dangerous in these type of events, and so if you see anything like that, just stay away from it. Make sure that we get the proper people in there to assess the situation so that we don't get anybody else hurt.
All right, thank you so much. Stay safe. I'll hand it back to you guys at the studio.
Taylor, of course, good information there. You've got to stay away from those down power lines. If you see one, you need to report it.
Yep, those rescue crews still out, still active situation. As you saw those pictures in Portage.
Absolutely.
People are still trying to assess what happened. So we're staying on top of this story as well. We're staffed in the Weather Center. We will break in as any conditions warrant. We're continuing to follow, of course, all of this breaking news. Look for reports both on air and online. And we'll have a comprehensive report for you tonight at 10 and 11.
Thanks for joining us.